Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Ten Hag has been sacked. We will be essentially delivering his obituary on this show today, plus reviewing the weekend's games, talking about the Ballon d'Or, cooking Henry, of course, reviewing VAR, and so much more. We have a brilliant panel for you today. We're joined by Staffy, making his debut on the show, the Terrace, and the Top 6 show today is Double A. We've got man like Will, who's here after the 4-0 crushing and his team running away from the Ballon d'Or. We've got Henry in the house after another defeat for Tottenham. We've got man like Nobbins, another narrow victory for the current champions. We have Kunle here with us and David in the house as well, repping Arsenal and Chelsea respectively. Viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't done so already. And turn that bell notification button on as well. But gents, there's only one place to start today. Ten Hag has been sacked. And look, Staffy, I'm going to hand the floor to you, brother.
Woo! I don't know where to start. Hold on, let me compose myself. I've been waiting for this moment for how long? I don't know. I was nervous today. I was like, what am I going to say today? What am I going to say to the people today? And I went on my channel today to ramble on. I was like, you know what? This is a good test before I go in the top 6 today and talk to the Terrace audience and talk to the lovely panel. Shout out Kunle. I know you said you don't like to see me happy, so you better turn your camera off, close your eyes, plug your ears. Don't listen to any of this. Ten Hag, guys. Oh my God. Ten Hag. Just listen, guys. Justice has been served. We've been liberated. Me, Terry, Double A, we finally made it out. We were in prison, guys, and we made it out. Everyone here should be congratulating us. You should say, congrats, guys. Congrats on your freedom. Congrats on your freedom from 10 haram football. No more haram football. No more haram football. I don't have to do watch-alongs anymore and call them haram-alongs. I can go back to calling them watch-alongs. I can actually enjoy football again. I don't need to watch the guys' teams play. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so bitter. I don't want to watch this game because they play magnificent football and I can't keep up with them. I can't. Now I can. I can hope to be like them one day because I no longer have just that dictator, that terrorist of a manager is no longer there. And listen, I saw a picture of him today. He was hiding from the paparazzis. It's like this. You could see his bald head shining. But that's it. He's hiding from the paparazzi. And you know what? A lot of people said, oh, I feel bad. Oh, he has a family. I don't give a fuck what you have to know. I was so happy to see that picture. Him, I know on the inside he's hurting. It hurts him on the inside. He's upset. He has to go back to the Netherlands and face his family and friends and be embarrassed. Well, guess what, Ten Hag? I am happy that you're embarrassed. I'm happy that you're heartbroken. I'm happy that today you feel miserable. Because that's how you made me feel for well over 2 years now. You've made me feel miserable. You've made me feel embarrassed. I was embarrassed to show my face on the Top 6 show, on my channel, on any other channel. Anytime people wanted to talk to me about football, I ducked them. I ducked them like he ducked the paparazzi, like this. I didn't want to talk football. I didn't want to be associated with these big clubs. Kunle was asking me, we haven't streamed in a while. Why do you think we haven't streamed in a while, Kunle? Because I'm embarrassed. I can't look Kunle in the eyes. I can't look Nubbin in the eyes. Even David, who was my mud brother last season, I can't even look him in the eyes no more. There's no one I can look in the eyes and talk football with. And that was because of Ten Hag. This guy's made my life miserable. And when I say me, I'm talking about 1,000 others. I represent a large group of people. We were embarrassed to talk about United. We didn't want to watch United again. This guy made me hate watching United. And I've been a United fan for about 20 years now. I've never in my life reached a point where I hated watching my team like Ten Hag made me feel. And that's why I'm happy to see him in that pain, because you put all of us through that pain. All those defeats that we had, that 7-0s, they're getting knocked out of Champions League with only 1 win. 1 win and 11 in Europe, and zero wins in a whole calendar year in Europe. Negative goal difference, all that stuff. Bro, all the defeats to City, the 3-0 to Spurs, all that stuff. all the stuff that he's put us through, all these stats that we read out for months and months and months, all these weeks where I had to show up here and talk about new records he broke. New records he broke against Brentford, new records he broke against Brighton, new records he broke against our rivals, new records he broke against the smaller teams, in the domestic trophies, in the league, in Europe, all of this pain. I am happy. I'm happy to see you suffer just a little bit, this teeny bit of what I've suffered and what others suffered for well over a year or two now. And Ten Hag, you are the worst manager, coach, whatever you want to call, the worst to ever step a foot in my lifetime in Man United. And I will pray that you never get a top 5 job again. And I promise you, if you even get a job in the MLS, on God, I'm going to do a US tour. I will tour all 50 states just to boo the shit out of you in every stadium. I will visit every 50 state, making sure that when I see Ten Hag, if there's only one person booing, it's gonna be me, brother. It's gonna be me.
Wow,
bro. Do you know what I feel like today when this news happened? You know that final scene? It's a beautiful scene. It's an amazing scene. One of the best scenes ever. In Shawshank Redemption, when a man like Morgan Freeman is walking down the beach and he sees his friend fixing up the boat. That's how I felt when I saw that headline. It was like the freedom was finally here. It's been hard. It's been hard to look. There are certain United fans that will want to score points. I called this earlier. There are others that will say, oh, you're happy now because you got what you wanted. It's not about being right, being wrong. I'll get some things right. I get something. I don't care. I did not see us progressing under this manager. There's no guarantees we will progress with somebody new, but I felt it was a guarantee without him, we wouldn't. Listen, I'm a little different from Staffy. Thank you for the 2 trophies because barring Pep Guardiola in the last 2 years, he has been the most successful manager in England. So thank you to adding that to our trophy cabinet. That's always going to be part of our history. Take your 10 million, 12 million, 14 million, whatever it's going to be. Sail off into the sunset. Go be successful elsewhere. I don't care. Man United season starts now, as far as I'm concerned. It starts now. We can be positive. Forget even winning games for a moment. I can just look forward to a game. Like Wednesday cannot come soon enough now. We play a game of football. I'm just excited. A double A, obviously, welcome to the terrace, mate. Making your debut here. Been watching your stuff for a long time. So what a night to making your debut when Ten Hag has been sacked. There's a number of new managers we're linked to. Ruud van Nistelrooy in as the interim. Give us your thoughts and feelings, bro.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the invite. Obviously, I know Staffy a little too well, if anything. Big up to the rest of the panel and obviously the chat for having me on. Mate, listen, we were messaging before and I said I was expecting a moan fest. I was just going to come in here and do what I've done on every stream for the last 18 months, moan and moan. And it's turned into a joyous day. Staffy says, it's like we've been freed from prison. It actually looks like I've been released today. I'm wearing a Strange Ways uniform. You know what I mean? I've come dressed appropriately, and that's how it feels for Man United fans. And look, the big thing for me is 2 things. Rival fans are going to say, "Oh, you're being ungrateful," and you're just going to go back to the same old sacking managers, this, and this. But the main thing I take from it is how sad rival fans are now. You can see it. Roms is in the chat, but Roms has been running this "I Love Ten Hag" campaign for about 12 months himself. So seeing the reaction of fans lets you know that Manchester United have made the right decision. And the biggest impact for me is, it was this season. Like, I've had some bad times following United for the last sort of 10 years, being a season ticket holder. You know, I think under the Ranić era, after that Atletico Madrid game that we lost, I didn't go to another game because I felt there it was just the wrong thing to me for me going there because I wasn't enjoying it. And I've not felt that under Ten Hag. The first season, yes, people say he overachieved or he achieved something that we'd not had for 6 years, winning a trophy, which was great. But then the second season was just back to square one, back to 21-22 for me. It was that bad. So this season, I already knew what we were coming into. There was just going to be a continuation of the poor dross that we've been served up by this manager and the excuse after excuse. And it was the 20 game. I got ready. I was at my front door with my keys. I got to the door and I thought, do you know what? I have a bad feeling about this. And I've never felt this in my life. I turned around and sat back down and I didn't bother going. And that's when I knew this manager has to go, because if you're making me feel like I can't go and watch my team, and there's only one person to blame for that, is Erik Ten Hag, then I know for me, there's no turning back. And I feel like each game is very much for me the same as the end of the Ollie era. It was very much a case of game by game. If he wins, he stays. If he loses, his head's back on the chopping block. And there's no future in that. You can't live game by game in this industry. And he was doing the same thing with his team. You look at Thursday night against Fenerbahce and Agate, who's been screaming needs to get more influence in the team and more minutes, who's played 2 in the last 3 Premier League games, by the way, which makes no sense. He changes it out and he's chopping and changing and he's living result by result. And thankfully, I can't believe, because I've been on Ineos's neck a little bit for the last couple of days, like they need to start making decisions. The fact they've done this with absolutely no warning and just cut it off at the head is brilliant news for me as a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
The fan base will be galvanized with this now. And you'll see on Wednesday night, I'll be there. The atmosphere, it'll be a different place. There might actually be an atmosphere. And that's the best thing as a Manchester United fan. Going to games, and it doesn't even have to be the most exciting football, but the fact, he kind of joined the fan base together in that first season. And that's what we want again. And yes, we are going into the unknown. Yes, we don't know who we're going to get or what we're going to see. But for me now, that's a risk I have to take, a chance I'm willing Manchester United to take, because we saw the start of this season to be 14th after 9 games. Again, a minus goal difference. No way we're getting better. It was just the end of days. And thankfully, the club have made the absolute right decision to get rid of him.
They certainly have. And I like the fact that there was everybody was caught off guard by it this morning when the news came out. Nobody was ready. Nobody was expecting it. A couple of Mondays ago when we thought it was going to happen, I literally didn't leave this room nearly all day. I'd go and get a drink, come back. I was sitting here refreshing my feed, waiting for the news. I thought it would come. We kind of got to the Wednesday and it was like, shit, he's staying. I love the fact that it just happened. There was no leaks last night. There was no talk of it last night. Again, I think for anyone outside of Man United, that may not resonate. You may not get it. But from our point of view, the amount of stuff, I mean, we know our stadium leaks when it rains, but the news that comes out of Old Trafford sometimes, it's frustrating that it does become news. And yeah, I feel galvanized. I already feel like defending my club again. I saw that loads of articles slagging off Ruud today. He's literally just the interim, but already stories about these problems he had prior. And I'm like, fucking yes. I feel like fighting for my football club again. So I love that sort of feeling. I feel excited about the games. But rivals, look, I think we can all agree it was right to sack Ten Hag. I don't think we're going to have that debate on the show today. I want to throw this out to Nobbins to begin with. What does this mean for Man United now? What do you think will happen from this point? You know, we're linked to a number of managers, some seemingly available now, like Xavi. Others may not be until the summer because we're linked to the likes of Alonso and Inzaghi. What should the next step for Man United be, in your opinion?
You'd like to, from a United perspective, you'd like to think they've already got someone lined up, because otherwise it would be mental to just sack someone randomly like late October without like a candidate ready and raring to go. Obviously, I have no idea what the situation is there. But I think we've touched on this before. Like, the only way forward for United is, in my opinion, to, in the first instance, don't be forward and don't go for like a big name manager. In the first instance, just go for a manager who actually knows what they're talking about from a footballing and tactical perspective. I think, like, start from the ground up in a way and just be like, right, in the first instance, we're going to remember how to play football, and we're actually going to have a tactical identity and a certain structure. Now, that might not mean you go and get the sexiest name out there. I don't know what names there would be that United are being linked with, as I say, but whoever it is, it's got to be someone who fundamentally is a competent coach, because Ten Hag clearly outed himself as someone who isn't a competent coach. So that's step one. Step two, I guess, is then sort of trying to find the balance in terms of, because this is a mismatch of a squad. I think it's safe to say, like, so many players from so many different managers. So I guess, like, the thing then is to sort of figure out.
Ornstein Bamba, Ornstein just tweeted, United are working on a deal for Rúben Amorim. Literally a minute ago.
Interesting.
So there's your answer, Nobbins. That's
Okay.
That would be very, very interesting, because he is a manager who does have a clear identity, and he's and a clear outlook from a coaching and tactical perspective. So that could be really interesting, to be honest. Yeah, that's really good. I know I know that allegedly he was linked with a potential future move to City. I don't know how concrete that was, but obviously, you know, potentially City are interested in him in the future. So yeah, that would be potentially a great shout, to be honest.
I mean, back to United, double A. I mean, Rúben Amorim, if that's the new manager, if that gets announced, how happy are you as that as the long-term replacement of Erik ten Hag?
I think you have to be happy. I think he's a name that's been mentioned in, you know, for potential jobs. I think it was at Chelsea before Maresca. I think at Liverpool as well. He was linked with, and then obviously, like saying, obviously City it sounds like they were lining him up to replace Pep. So it's a name that's been on a lot of people's, especially in the Premier League. You know, you only see him linked to moves to the Premier League. I think he's done fantastic over at Sporting over a number of seasons. Be interesting to see how he fits in at Manchester United with the way he wants to play. You know, that he does play at the 3-5 at the back. So it'll be interesting to see what he wants to do in the Premier League. But for me, he's number 2 on my list. Personally, Nagelsmann was my number 1, 100%. I know how difficult that might be to get him out of Germany, but he would be the one I would chase. And, you know, looking at Amorim, I mean, straight away, it screams that's a name you want. Like you know, he's not that. He's the up and coming. But then again, we had that with Ten Hag. Ten Hag was the up and coming next big thing over at Ajax. So we've kind of done that. It's just, again, I can only imagine and trust that Ineos have done more due diligence than the Glazers and Murta and Arnold ever would, to be honest with you. They probably saw a name and just went for it straight away without doing any reference checks or anything. So, yeah, I think it's a brilliant name. I'm smiling at that because I think that's perfect because, you know, looking at the Xavi links and even trying to throw Ollie back in the mix and stuff like that was not worrying me, but straight away you're thinking, are we really that deep in the mud that it's Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer coming back? But yeah, Amorim for me, mate, that makes perfect sense. And again, project manager you would hope for, and given, you know, you have to give it.
Erik's just left Double A, and look how you're celebrating and talking about other guys. This is disgusting.
I've had the champagne on ice. I've had the champagne on ice for 18 months, bro. I've had it, bro. I've got messages. Don't go too hard on the champagne. People know I've been looking forward to this day for a long time, and it's not a case of. I'm a United fan that doesn't want to sack managers all the time. I'd love to have a Pep or a Klopp, but they are the new Fergie. These managers that stay 6-7 years, that is 26 years now in today's game. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't happen. The cycle just.
Where's Erik's 6 years, mate? Where's Erik's 6 years?
Yeah, the thing is though, Double A, you know this as well as I do. Look, I love Manchester United. I live in Manchester for a long time. An amazing place. One of the reasons we're never getting another Fergie is that the modern day head coach is not trained to run a football club. They are trained to coach the first team. And as they get more experience, they can have input elsewhere. No other club in the world at the elite end of the spectrum is built how Man United were under Fergie, how Forest were under Clough, how Liverpool were under Paisley and Shankly. There is a club plan, and the head coach is essentially plug and play. It's why Slaughter started so well at Liverpool. You know, it's why Flick has been able to go into Barcelona, and it's a continuation. It isn't right. Flick's in. It's a brand new plan, and we have no idea which of our players he's going to like or get rid of. That there should be a kind of process to it. So yeah, I like the links. Amorim is someone that, you know, I really I do like him. I've watched him at his team. I've watched Sporting a number of times. I like how they play. Listen, if he could, maybe we have to buy him, right? But if he could get Højlund anywhere close to looking like Gyökeres, then I'm a happy guy. And that's the exciting bit for me when it comes to the coming in. I know our squad's a bit of a Frankenstein squad. I know we need new players, and I know we need to improve it. But I do not believe this squad is a 14th. I don't believe it's a 10th place. I think it's could easily be inside that top 6 in terms of squads now, in terms of overall quality. And I think a competent coach with a solid system will demonstrate that to people. Now, we know we need still over the next 2 or 3 summers, easily we need a new 10, 12 players coming into this squad. And we're all aware of it. Nobody thinks we're perfect. But yeah, I'm excited about this. And I'd love Amorim to come in. David, from your point of view, Amorim, a good appointment for Man United if that deal happens?
I mean, I guess. But like, I feel like you're kind of picking from the litter. I can't lie. I think, if I'm being very honest, you should have done this 4 weeks ago and you should have got Thomas Tuchel. That's what you should have done. That would have been the smartest thing United could do. But ultimately, they wanted to wait 4 weeks to see if Ten Hag could turn the magical bus around, and it didn't happen. So now I just feel like
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you got to remember, in the summer, they actually held 2 advanced meetings with Tuchel, and they decided not to get him. So at some point there was a disagreement on something. I don't know what it is, but he was the only one that they had advanced talks with in the summer. So you can already tell that ship has sailed. Even forget the fact that he's now with England, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, like for me, I just look at your squad, and this is why, like, Kunle was giving me grief for the chat earlier because like Staffy was quoting "Dreams and Nightmares," it's one of my favorite songs, and I was just joining it in because I was like, I get why they're happy because I was there. Like, people remember Depressed David on the terrace like 3 years ago. It was a struggle, and I don't like seeing people in that way. It's tough, but I'm just not worried because I look at your squad and I go like, who's even going to make this work anyway? Because you got rid of the Glazers making people make footballing decisions who weren't football, but then you brought in Ineos, and then you've done the same thing. So am I really
but David, though, you're an intelligent guy, and I know you're an intelligent guy because I know what you do for a living. I did a reference for you. I know what you did for a living, right? Smart kid, right? Love you to bits. Generally, great parents, love you, but we are doing things differently. Now, I understand that people look at the delay of sacking this manager and go, well, that's a Glazer-esque move. I don't know whether it is yet. I think we've got to keep our powder dry on this. We've hired for the first time in the club's history football decision makers that out after the Fergie era. Even things like the cost-cutting element. I'm sick and tired of the media and rivals trying to make it sound like, oh, we've got broke billionaire owners. They don't know what they're doing. They're cheap asses. We have been laughed at for 17 years for losing money, overspending, and operating in a ridiculously expansive way. There's so many things we're doing differently. The owners have put plans in place for a new 100,000-seater stadium and to regenerate the area. I think all of these elements indicate different behavior to what we have seen in the previous 17 years from the Glazers. So I'm not saying they've been perfect. I'm not saying that they've got everything right so far. But what gives me, and it is hopium, so before people start throwing that in, is there's so many elements. And I'd love to throw this at Double A because you're in Manchester, and to anyone who's outside the UK, when you do live in the town that a club's in, you hear a lot more about what's going on because people work for the local authorities. They work at the football club. They're around it. Is there a different feeling about the club now that Ineos are there? Or is it like David said, is it very much the same?
No, I think the fact you don't hear the Glazers out anymore. I think in the stadium, I think we heard it the first game, I think, or maybe. But I think there's now not an acceptance is the wrong word to use, but there's a patience with the fans, I think, to wait because the end game we all know has to be the Glazers have to go. And one thing I'm very critical of the Glazers is they are a friend of my enemy is my enemy in my eyes, and they have got into bed with the Glazers, which for me is one of the worst things you can do. But I'm happy to give them.
Sorry. Breaking news from Plattenberg. Rúben Amorim has verbally agreed to become the new Manchester United manager. So, again, I'm going to say this as well, David. Every other time we've hired a new manager, it has been death by 1,000 cuts and taken about sometimes 2 or 3 months to get it over the line. The fact that this looks like it's done almost already, from a content creator's point of view, that's 3 or 4 days of not being able to speculate. That's annoying, right? But Plattenberg has now said that verbal agreement is now in place between Rúben Amorim and Manchester United. Sorry, back to you, Double A.
No, good. Listen, mate, if they're moving this fast already to get a manager at that level, it just goes to show the patience. I think there's patience with the fans. The only thing I can attest to is that we want to see them moving in the right way. And I agree with what you're saying, Terry. In certain ways, they're moving correctly in ways. They've done things like, you look at the summer, like they've said, they were walking to decisions rather than running. Whether you think them decisions are right or not, with Xerxes or with Euro or with, especially with Agate, I think they were walking to these and not running to them.
He managed Agate, by the way. Just a good reminder.
Yeah, another thing for United fans, Bruno as well, to be fair. So
I don't think he managed Bruno. Bruno left the year he took over.
Apparently he does like him, though.
Fuck off. What's KJ doing here? What are you doing, KJ? What are you
KJ,
doing?
you really want to do it?
I'm a room, baby. Let's fucking go. Who are you rivals, man? You guys are preying on our downfall? Suck it.
all I'm gonna say, you again. I've seen this book. I saw this 2 years ago. God, we got Ten Hag. We're back. Do you know what? I'm just saying.
Okay, no, hold on. Can I say something on
All I'm
this?
gonna say.
Go on, Staffy. Go on, Staffy.
Terry,
Go on,
all
Staffy.
I'm gonna
Because I
say
haven't
is, all I'm
spoken
gonna
about
say is,
Go ahead, dude.
all I'm gonna say is, right. I'm not saying Amorim is bad. I'm not, because I think he will improve you, because I think you can't get any worse. However, if you really wanted him, you would have got him in the summer. That's what I'm gonna say. If you guys were planning,
David, that ain't necessarily true though. But that ain't necessarily true. And this is David. I know you're being salty, right? But this is where I disagree with you. Sometimes in life you can't rush into decisions, and when I'm going to be very condescending now. When you get older and you get into more senior positions within your work, you are going to be taught this. One of the first things, one of my mentors, when I went into a senior leadership position at Barclays Bank, they said to me, I was going into a new department and there were some problems in it. And the advice they gave me, and this is a shorter scale because it's a much smaller operation, like a little department within Barclays, but they said, make no big decisions in the first month you're here. I want you to, they said, go in, listen, absorb, make friends with people, make relationships. The first person you meet who seems like an amazing person might turn out to be the biggest snake in the grass. The person who you first meet you think's an idiot might turn out to be your biggest asset. Sit back and learn and absorb before making really big sort of decisions. And sometimes you have to come in and sit back. Sometimes you have to give someone like a Ten Hag enough rope to metaphorically hang himself so that, I don't know, maybe he's got half the dressing room that supports him. And you think, if we move him out now, half this dressing room is going to be against the new manager the second he walks in, like Tuchel at Bayern Munich, as an example. We've heard all these stories come out about Chelsea, about players not happy that Tuchel left, and then they went to Potter. And just as they're getting used to him, they go to Lampard. You've got to learn from other people's mistakes. So I know on the surface, it looked a mistake to not get rid of him straight away. And I've said that. But this is why I've said all along, I'm keeping my powder dry on Ineos. Let's see how this new appointment works out. Let's see how quickly we improve and what the success of this looks like. I think before we start making overarching judgments of, if you really wanted him, you'd have got him in the summer. I get your point as a rival, but I'm pushing back against it and defending my club.
No, I get that. But again, from where my club is currently, I just don't see you as a threat.
You know, here's the thing, David. This is not about your club right now. So I gotta take this. I gotta do the same thing I did in the chat earlier. I gotta remove you guys from the light. That main character syndrome, we're gonna put it away today. The party's not about you. The party's about us. If you want to talk about us in isolation, you know I respect your football opinion. But today, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really impressed with the performance. Let me just talk about Amorim real quick. So just reading the news, there's two things I want to say about it. I want to talk about it in a more of a financial aspect and more of a tactical aspect. So on the financial side of it, them being willing to spend 10 million to get Rúben Amorim out of his contract shows me one thing, that they're not just going for the cheap option like a lot of people thought. Because I was hearing a lot of people talk today. They're saying they're probably going to go with Xavi because he's free. A lot of people thought we were going to go for Tuchel because he was free. Maybe Thomas Frank because it would be easier to get him out of his contract. The fact that they are willing to pay that amount of money to get Amorim shows me that that was the choice, and that I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be what I want. I want them to be sure that they're getting what they wanted, because they spent time scouting, interviewing, doing all that stuff. Now, you were saying if they really want him, they would have gotten him this summer. I will disagree with you on one thing. You could be living in an apartment, as an example, and you're about to buy a house, but you're really torn apart between two houses. Both of them you love so much, you can't decide which one you want to buy. So you're taking your sweet time deciding which one do I really want. It doesn't mean that you evict yourself and you live in the streets until that happens. And that's why I always thought that I wanted to stay as long as possible with Ten Hag until they do enough research on who they want as a replacement. It's just gotten so bad to the point that we're like, you know what? Maybe we wanted a little bit more time, but he's put so much pressure on us by the performances, being 14th and 21st in the Europa League and all that. Now we have to act now. And they've gotten so far, the closest to their heart was, you know what? Amorim is the guy. And as I said, the proof is there. They're paying money for it. So that's number one. I think that's their guy. And if that's their guy, I'm okay with it. Now, secondly, I'm obviously going to do a little bit more research on Amorim, because I'll be lying if I sit here and I watch Sporting every week. Obviously, there's a few candidates, and I have a bunch of pros and a bunch of cons for everyone. Now, I'm looking at Amorim. The one thing that I like tactically about that, and I've said it before, I always thought that our current squad is built up to play three in the back. And he does play three in the back. That's one thing I felt like if Ten Hag would have adjusted, he probably would have been a little bit better. When you watch United games, and I don't know, obviously you guys as rivals, I don't expect you to watch United as much as me, Terry, and Double A do. But we already take a 3 in the back shape when we are on the ball. So some of these players actually have an idea of how to play that on the ball. Obviously, he's a better manager, so he's going to coach them and drill them to play a little bit better. Our issue was always off the ball because we are so easy to beat at times. We concede a lot of chances. With the current squad, I feel like it would be the easiest for Amorim to come in and kind of do something with the crop of players that we have. Because I don't think our center backs, as an example, are good enough to play 2 in the back. I look at Martinez, and because of his deficiencies, I feel like he should be a left center back and have 2 solid center backs that play next to him. So I look at that already, and I feel like, all right, that's going to work. I look at our fullbacks. I feel like someone like Dalot, like Mazraoui, they can low-key play like wingbacks. I look at our midfield. That midfield, I don't like our midfield. It doesn't control games well. So if you have a 3 in the back where people who really understand football, 3 in the back kind of means more control. You just get it from your center backs versus in other formations, you get it from your midfield. So tactically, I'm looking at it. I feel like he has a decent enough squad to come in and kind of do something with him. Like it fits him more than it fits a Xavi or it fits a Tuchel. Actually, it might have fit Tuchel, but you get the point that I'm saying. So I'm going to look into him more and see what's his pros and what's his cons. But that already, like I can look at these things and be like, you know what? He has something decent to work with. Because I don't think this squad is as bad as people say. Because a lot of people said, you know what? You sack the manager and it's going to be the same thing. I don't agree. I think most of these players would perform better under another manager. And at least, I'll tell you one thing. At least if he comes in and he gets the squad to play well, and I see some players that don't play well, at least I can look at them and be like, you know what? Now I can actually judge you because the squad is good. The majority of the players are good. You're just the 1 or 2 that are not performing. Even if you're one of my favorite players, I like Xerxes, but if Xerxes doesn't fit, I'll be like, you know what? This is more on you because it's a new manager. The majority of the squad improved. You're still not improving. Now I can actually analyze the players more versus under Ten Hag. It was very hard for us to actually pick out who's the good players and who's the bad ones because all of them just look shit under this manager. No one knew who the good ones are. So all this, listen, I'm okay with it. It's nothing that I'm gonna rave about so much. I'm not gonna go and change my AV to Amorim and call myself Amorim era and all that stuff. But like, yeah, I'm not,
well, all of the sorry, Double A, go on.
I was just going to say, and just big respect to you, David, but just watch for this as well, because rivals are now going to start turning Amorim into a scrub. Already to say, well, if you wanted him, you would have got him in the summer. Just be careful of that, because I imagine there was Chelsea fans that wanted Amorim before Maresca came in, because there was Chelsea fans that, you look at some of the fans hated the fact Maresca came in, and now he's a little bit of form. He started the season well. All of a sudden, it's the second coming of Christ. But I guess I reckon a lot of fans from Chelsea would have had Amorim, and I reckon fans from other clubs would have had Amorim as well. Liverpool were after a manager as well, so I ain't gonna start listening to rival fans putting this man down who broke, the stranglehold in Portuguese football while winning trophies.
Bro, we've not even started talking yet, man. You're already preempting like negative. This ain't 8 Mile, bro.
If he was that good, you'd have got him.
You see what Staffy said though. What Staffy said in terms of the players. I kind of hear it on one side, but on the other side, it's like, is a new manager going to change the fact that your winger options are Anthony, Garnacho, like Rashford and whoever? Man, that's not going to change that.
Can I ask you
still
something,
employ people like Ericsson. You still have Johnny Evans at the back. Like I don't know. Like I hear what David's saying on one side. I hear it because your squad is still kind of mid. But
but let me ask you something.
A new manager could create a bounce and like I get it to one extent, but it's like it's on both sides. It could go either way as well. Those players are not necessarily good players anyway. So
but that's why I disagree with you, and that's what I've been trying to say.
No way, they've got levels to go. This team,
the players I named, they really got levels to go. Those players I named specifically, have they got levels to go?
I mean,
yeah, but Kunle, hang on, but you're acting like with.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Kunle, I get your point. But again, I think we've got to go back to what I know. I said it. I do believe that Staffy and Double A are probably on the same page as me. We all know our squad's got to get better, but the squad was never going to be fixed before we hired a new manager under Ineos. We can't wait 3 years for the squad to be. You back Arteta. You backed him because in the early days when he wasn't getting the wins like he gets now, you would have been an Arsenal fan that was saying, "Well, we've got to wait for the squad to be built because the squad was awful." My question to you is, why are you not affording the new Man United manager that same time from that same criticism that you would have protected your manager from?
No, I'm not saying he's not afforded that time. What I'm just saying in terms of what Staffy said was these players we get to now see if they're good or not. Like there's quite a few of those players that I don't know how much more a new manager could get out of them because I don't think they're quality anyway. That's all I'm saying. So you shouldn't expect too much from Amorim just yet. He deserves time, 100%, but that's all I was trying to say.
But it's not a league-winning squad by no means.
No way.
But at the same time, they're not 14th. They're not 14th good in the league. I'm gonna be honest with you. There isn't 13 teams in the league that on quality are better than us. I don't believe it, and I've been on this boat for a while. I've been saying it since the summer. We have recruited enough players where I rate them to be somewhat around the top 4, fighting for top 4. That was my prediction from the beginning because I rated us on quality. I always say this, it will baffle people how much coaching can actually make players look good. We've seen, what's his name, the guy from Newcastle, Joe Linton, one of the biggest scrubs in the league. He got a manager that knew how to use him, ended up being one of the best midfielders in the league for like a couple seasons. Coaching can do wonders sometimes. Now, I'm not saying by any means is Amorim going to come in and in 1 or 2 years he's going to get us contending. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you will see the better out of a lot of players because some of these players were getting outplayed by Fenerbahce, FC20, the scrubs in the league. Scrubs, bro. That FA Cup that we won last year, we won it on a toenail because Coventry outplayed us. I'm sorry, Coventry players are not better than my wingers. You don't have to rate them highly, but you cannot tell me that these squads are better than us. And that's automatically 100%. I'll bet my house that's going to get fixed.
And Chelsea are going for it now. Chelsea fans are suddenly realizing which players are technically good enough and which ones they need to get rid of because they have a manager that's coaching the well, drilling the well, and got a good system. The poorer players are now standing out. Where last season, there was times last season where Caicedo looked as bad as anybody. There was times last season where Chelsea, barring Cole Palmer, their better players weren't standing out as regularly as they should have been. Now, the same Chelsea fans that were defending Enzo Fernandez every week, a lot of them are saying, I just don't think he's good enough to start for us. I prefer these guys. And I think that's what Man United, forget what you lot need as rivals. We need it. We need for that to stand out. And we'll all have a different opinion subjectively who we think's good enough and who isn't. But you need a solid system, a well-drilled team to really get to the bottom of this. And we haven't been there. We haven't been there yet. Another bit of updated news. Fabrizio has now tweeted that the talks between the camp of Amorim's Sporting and Man United have all been intensifying in the last couple of hours. And it is starting to feel like that is going to be the new Manchester United manager. We haven't heard from Will or Henry on this yet. But yeah, Will, what do you make of this potential appointment? And can you see Man United improving from this point moving forward?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick that as a mutual, or if you want to, any rival fans, we've lost, right? Nobody sat here and has thanked Ten Hag for the memories that he's given us from these fan channels, right? So I just think that we should just shout out Ten Hag for the memories that he's given me as a football YouTube fan. So, look, I think the Amorim appointment, it seems like a positive one because he is a manager that was linked with the move to a few Premier League clubs last summer. I remember, you guys brought up like Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. I think he also took a flight to West Ham and then like something fell apart. So obviously he is a manager that a lot of people do rate and that they do want to bring him in. But I forget who brought it up, but it is kind of similar to like when Ten Hag first came in and, everything that he did at Ajax was fantastic. I think that Ten Hag is, you could probably say, more successful at this stage than like Amorim is back then, right? Beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, was winning all these trophies at Ajax and things. So, I just think even though we've lost today, it's not over, right? There's no guarantee that he'll come here and have you guys playing so much better. I agree with what with what they were saying in terms of your squad is really bad. Like, the fact that Staffy said that you thought that you'd be competing for top 4, you're out of your mind. Your squad is not at that level. At best,
I'll collect that receipt later.
I do agree.
I got a lot of receipts here.
I do agree. United are not the 14th. Like, they should not be that low. But at best, you're around 8th in terms of
no chance.
Starting 11 squad.
No way.
There's only about 7 players at Manchester United that I think are actually decent. Everybody else is mid or just not good enough.
No way.
All right. I mean, look,
United, I don't think United will make
hear it.
fourth
I hear
this
it.
year because it's a little bit too late.
you were
So
never
I
going to
can't
make
even-
fourth.
So
Even
so
with
I
the
can't
new
even
manager
measure
on
it
the
like
manager.
side,
Not with
you
his
were
manager,
never
no.
going to make fourth.
Not with his manager, no way. What
not
was
the manager.
Squad,
That's what
not
I'm
with
saying.
that
players.
squad, bro.
No,
Manager.
with those players, it doesn't matter who.
No,
So,
it's not.
so this is where
There's
I
nothing
think
you'll say that will make me think otherwise,
No
bro.
shit.
Do you
Nah,
think
nah.
that squad is
I've
good
seen
enough to
these
get
players-
top 4,
Bro,
Staffy?
I've
That's
seen
what
these
you're saying.
players go on national duties, bro, and they all ball out, all of them.
Yeah, because they're
The
proven
Liverpool
center
players
players.
ball out.
Name them. Name them.
Can
And
I,
they-
hang on, can I ask you guys a question? Has Man United's squad got better in the last 2 years or worse, in your opinion?
Better. A lot better.
These
Better.
guys all said we cooked in the
A
summer.
lot better.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Ineos are
in
scaring
the
us.
sun, yeah.
And now
yeah.
we're shit. No.
Look, listen, you're all entitled to your opinion. Okay, I think we
Stop
can fight about this for a month. I'm keeping the receipts too. This team, well drilled and well coached, on its day could beat any team in the Premier League. Do you want to know how I
Harry.
know? What?
You sound like Dodd. You sound like Dodd.
No,
I'm
listen.
I'm storing the
Hang on,
receipts.
hang
I'm
on,
storing them.
I am
When
storing
I
receipts,
see,
and I tell you as to why.
when we cook,
I tell you as to why
just
I'm
remember,
storing
I've
them.
got
Big
your
up Don,
receipt.
by the way. I'm storing them. Do you know why? Right? I'm storing them for this reason because you lot are all showing that we are all of your biggest rivals here. But the reason I say this is I know we've beaten all of you, barring Real Madrid, because we haven't played you in the last couple of years under this manager. We've beaten every single one of you in games. And that's with this crap shitty squad that hasn't been well drilled under a manager that you will celebrate staying every week that he's here. So to suggest that if Amorim, and that's no one's really answered the question yet, will he make us well drilled? Will he coach us well? Like people seem to be ignoring that part of the question. If he can do that job, I am very confident that this squad is not as good as Arsenal's, Liverpool's, or City's, but it's as good or in and around everybody else, if not better than nearly everybody else in the Premier League, and can compete for top 4 levels and win trophies. Do you know how I know it can win trophies as well? Because barring Man City, we've won more trophies than the rest of you combined in the last 2 years with the manager that you all celebrated
But you're still not happy.
staying in the job.
But you're still
Sorry?
not happy with those trophies.
No, but again,
Exactly, that's the point.
you guys are
Imagine
moving the
we weren't
goalposts.
happy.
We're not sitting here as United fans and saying we've got the manager, we're back, we're ready to win the league. We know we've got years of improving the club and improving the squad.
Yeah,
that
but
is
then
the
that's
question.
Barry.
The question is, will Amorim improve us on the pitch from this point moving forward?
Of course, he's going to improve you because of how bad you've been. It's
Well,
not
thank
going to
you.
be hard to do. As long as you can hold the ball and maybe create a few more chances, you guys will be impressed. The standards for Manchester United are on the floor right now. What I'm saying is,
They're not on the
right?
floor.
Say it again.
They're not on the floor.
Of course, they're on the floor. Look at how
No,
you
no,
guys.
they're not.
play
No, they're
football.
not. I want to hang on. How am I
Standards.
How are my standards on the floor if I want us to get back to winning the league title?
No,
No,
I mean, in
that's
terms
my
of the
standard.
way we play football,
No,
it's
I'm saying-
Our,
level
no,
them.
so our
Like how you guys-
performances, we be very careful. Our
level them.
performances are on the floor. That's why we were desperate for new owners. We know that the club's been running to the ground. We've been talking about it for 20 years as Man United fans. But
Yeah.
but we can't. Why can't we? We're allowed to be happy when we see
No, of
changes that we
course we
believe
can
will
be
improve us.
No, but nobody said that you can't be happy. What I'm saying is, I think yes, this is a good appointment, and it's, again, same thing like how Ten Hag back then also looked like a good appointment because he was an up and coming manager. What I'm saying is, you are a huge team. You're arguably the biggest club on this planet. You have a
We are.
shit squad, and I think if in
Average.
2-3 years,
Squad,
if
I don't know.
Emerimian is not having you guys back in that top 4 pretty soon, I don't think he's gonna get as much time.
Will,
as
Will,
you
Will,
think.
Brother,
Will,
brother,
Will,
not for
Will,
nothing,
Will,
bro.
Will,
I'm
Will.
watching
Will,
Ange
Will,
Hold
Postecoglou.
on, Will.
Wait,
To
one
be
second.
fair,
I'm watching
in a
Ange
couple of
Postecoglou
years-
coach Timo Werner and some scrubs in that squad to being the #1 team in the league in terms of creating chances and press off the ball. If you can coach those scrubs, you're telling me none of the players that we have can be coached the way Ange is coaching some of the scrubs at Spurs.
Staffy, that's not what he's saying. Look, I'm not saying that Man U in a couple of years can't be getting in top 4. I'm saying this squad you currently have right now can't get top 4. And the squad that the guy you just picked up,
Not at this moment. Not at this moment.
He
If it
didn't
was in
get
the
them
summer, I
into
would have
top
changed.
4 with
I would
that
have said
beautiful
yes.
football. So I'm saying you guys will
was-
definitely improve under him, like Will is saying. But this squad is definitely not ready for top 4 yet. Yeah, sorry. You need
Even
a
if you
couple
would have
of
had a
more wins.
Tuchel in like the summer, if you would have
Well,
came
look,
in,
top-
you wouldn't
top
have
four-
made top 4.
Top four's
Couple more
over. Top 4 is over this season anyway, in my opinion, because of where we find ourselves.
Okay, that's fair.
What we are talking about is this. We know our squad's got to improve. We're not disagreeing with that. But I believe you are going to see a big improvement in how we play under this manager. And it isn't, I know people say, but you've hired other managers before. I'm speaking out the same side of my mouth. I said, go back and watch the video, people. When we appointed Ten Hag, I said it would end up how it did if we didn't make, in the early stages of him coming in, the fundamental changes at board level and key football decision-making level, because nothing could change. That has happened now. I believe, with real football people running the club, I personally believe we are going to see a dramatic improvement on the football pitch. However, the only thing they've done wrong so far, I wouldn't have personally kept Ten Hag. We'll see whether that's a right or wrong decision as this moves on. Viewers, look, we're going to go to the super chats now because I don't want to run out of time on today's show because there's so many other talking points to get into. This says, as a Chelsea fan, and Henry hasn't spoken yet, bless him, and he wants to talk about his Arsenal. He says here, as a Chelsea fan who has done my research on Amorim, this is a proper appointment by United. Amorim is what I wanted after Poch. Please do not hire him before we play you. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I'm making an early call. We're beating Chelsea on Sunday. I'm saying that we're beating Chelsea on Sunday. We're beating you.
I wouldn't even be surprised. That new manager bounce, that thing is special. We lost.
I just don't want to be associated with this take.
We lost to Duncan.
All right, don't try preempt that, David. Don't try.
No, I'm saying we'll
We
win.
lost to Duncan Ferguson on a manager bounce.
David, don't try and jump on that earlier.
Duncan Ferguson doesn't even know football. He don't even know. He knows heading the ball. That's it.
Bruv, Man United, I'm telling you, the noise that stadium is going to make on Sunday, we'll win. We will win. And do you know what? Especially if Ruben's been announced.
Amorim.
What did I say?
You said
You said
Ruben.
Rumerim.
Yeah, dyslexia kicked in there, but we know what I mean, right? Especially if he's announced with Rude as the manager, the legend that he is. We're beating Chelsea this weekend. Staffy, how dare you? Timo Werner won the Champions League. Go Dodgers is what Runin says here. Thanking Ten Hag, that's why we got whooped by Barca. Hopium is a hell of a jug, bro. The squad stinks.
That's recency bias, bro. 18 months ago, Rashford was a Ballon d'Or nominee. Casemiro was one of the best midfielders in the world. We were talking about the squad like it was amazing. It's funny how much coaching changes. Terry, I beg you, this stream, I need the stream saved. Because in about a year, that stream is going to be worth gold, bro.
All of you, Don Terry, Don Staffy, Don AA, all of you.
Wait,
all of you.
like, okay, so what about this United squad do you rate so highly? Go ahead.
Let Terry finish the
All right, go ahead.
Celebrate until your players sack the Portuguese pop is what Dyke says here. Didn't you pick our squad to finish above yours, David, earlier on this season? You did, didn't you?
Yes, I said that. I liked your consistency, but then you
Stinker.
I was like,
So David changes opinion.
All the big un.
You know what's funny, Terry? So he changed his opinion because he has now a better coach that made his players look better. But when I say my coach is going to make the majority of his players look better, it's crazy to say.
Damn, David.
no. What I said was, I think you're going to go backwards before you go forwards. I don't think it's going to be,
like you've done with Maresca, like Liverpool have a slot. Yeah, gone backwards, gone forward.
I said this. When it came to Maresca, I said the same thing. But also, I think my squad's better than your squad. Comfortably better.
You didn't predict that.
I never said that.
Today is a sad day for English football. Harry Potter will blame V.A. Voldemort. Oh, I think, did I mean you, Harry Potter? As in you, Henry? It must mean you, Henry. You're the only one here who could be Harry Potter.
No, because remember Ten Hag said he's not Harry Potter?
Oh, sorry. Right. There we go.
How is that like what we do?
Because you've got a little bit of a like Harry Potter look about you without the glasses.
Wait, so what? Hang on. I'm Sinead O'Connor,
like a nerd, essentially.
Devlin, and Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, because you are. I know. I hope your missus ain't watching, because I know you get married, but you're proper nerdy, neaky, geeky, bruv. Like
nerdy, neaky, geeky.
You are, aren't you, mate? No, you. I know you are. I know you are. I know you and your friends. I bet you would like you and your. I can imagine you and your friends were like the in-betweeners.
What?
Definitely.
Okay. Follow-up question: which in-betweener is Henry then, Terry?
Yeah, Henry.
Don't do it.
No, Henry would be he'd be Simon. He'd be Simon.
Simon,
the really tragic one.
Yeah, the one who.
Jay.
No, you wouldn't be. Hang on. Hang on. If you're saying hang on. If you're saying Jay, are you confirming the rumors that you're a bullshitter?
well, no, but Jay's got the chat out of the forum. The other.
No,
I mean,
but Jay doesn't have the chat when it matters. He's got no bollocks, bruv. You know what I mean?
Just got a tiny knob.
I think you're Simon. With your dodgy haircuts, you've got to be
I
Simon.
was gonna say, I reckon he's Simon. No, not Simon. I think he's Neil.
Neil. No, you're an in-betweener though. That's for sure. Terry, please ask the deluded Will if he thinks Liverpool's midfield is still better than Arsenal. So we'll come back to that when we get onto the game. Actually, we'll come back to that. Now that Now that Ten Hag is gone, I feel like he left you in a worse place with his signings. Should Ineos and the new gaffer clear out United, kind of like Chelsea? I mean, it's going to happen. We know this squad's going to get cleared out, don't we?
I think he's brought a lot in. No, the thing is, he brought a lot in, so they're going to get another year, 18 months themselves to see how they go under this manager. I can't see another massive clear out. I have to say, though, quickly, there's 5 players that have to have their eye over them under this new manager, and that's Rashford, Bruno, Shaw, Dalot, and Maguire. Maguire's at his level anyway. But if them 5 start cooking in this team under a new manager, that shows me that they've been holding back, especially Rashford, for sure.
Yeah, and that should, part of me almost feels like if that happens, as much as I'll be happy in the short term, they're scoring, they're winning games for us again, that hopefully is a message to the board that you got to move those guys on. Be happy. Yeah, I think that is one. Forget the other factors. Let's look at it manager versus manager before they join United. Was Ten Hag seen as a good manager and a good coach? Listen, he definitely was looked at as a good manager and a good coach, the same as Amorim. But you've got to look at what Amorim's doing, right? He's at the third wealthiest club in Portugal. But let's not pretend like Porto and Benfica haven't dominated that league and that nation for a while. As a manager, he's won a domestic cup with Braga, won 2 league titles, 2 domestic cups. I think he did a cup double with Sporting, understanding that where they sit in the pyramid in that country in terms of financially versus the other 2 teams. He's done a very, very good job indeed. So both very good indeed. Y'all could have waited until December the 4th. Hopefully you'll don't get Yulkares. But at the moment, Rude is your interim manager. Get Rude with it. The issue with Ten Hag was at Ajax, his squad and his tactics were built up by Cruyff's son and Mark Overmars. Hopefully, Amorim will be better for United. I'll say this about
something real quick about
that. Go on, mate. Go on.
This relates to Super Chat before that. And I don't want people to insult our intelligence, okay? The thing about Ten Hag, yes, he was a good coach when we got him, and I personally wanted him. Let's not forget that this guy came in, recruited hella Ajax players, and in his first season said, I'm not going to play Ajax football. It is not my fault. I keep saying this. It's like I hired a chef, and I said, listen, I need you to cater for this party. I tried your food. It's good. He does Italian as an example. He comes in, and he doesn't do Italian on the day I hired him. I'm like, why didn't you do it? I hired it because I like the food that you gave out, the samples. He's like, no, I'm trying something new. That is not on me. That's on the person that I hired, changing the way he does things. If Rúben Amorim comes in and in the first season, he's like, you know what? Forget everything I did with Sporting. I'm going to create a new style of football and it doesn't work. Of course, I'll criticize it. It doesn't mean that I was wrong at the time for looking at his football and saying, you know what? Sporting football was good. If he replicates it here, will be good. If he changes it, how is that in my hands? I can't do anything about it. So we just gotta like be a little bit more objective when we talk about it.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. If you were managing, would you want your team to carry out your orders to the letter, or would you allow them to have some creative freedom? Well, the latter. We've heard the greatest, the current active manager in the world, Pep Guardiola, say that my system coaches the players to get the ball to the edge of the box, and then it is up to them. So that happens. Plus, there are moments in games that you may not be coached for, and you want people to have the ability to react. So you want an element of both. You want a rigid, defensively, I think you want a really rigid nature. In attack, you want to allow an element of freedom so that they can work out how to unlock a door. So I think there's a combination of the two, personally. Rate each position in the team right now. That's a long thing to do right now. We might come back to that at the end of the show, my friend. Joshua Jack here says the correct decision, but the decision should have happened months ago. Everybody saw it coming. It was the lack of style, the lack of improvement and results. We were going into November in 14th place. That's unacceptable. I completely agree. Kunle, I know what you are thinking, brother, but it's a good thing because they play Chelsea. Come on, you gooners. And remember, we're everybody's biggest rival. You got to remember that. Everybody's angry about this news. All these things Staffy just listed out is how bad Ten Hag was. Guess what? You can put this for every manager you've had since Fergie. Problematic club. But we agree. That's why we're talking about being happy that there's a new board of directors and football people running the club. So I think we've called it out 100 times on the terrace.
Probably also said Glazers are going to sack another manager. But now when Ineos sack a manager, now it's wrong. Bro, okay, man.
Absolutely. Right decision to sack ERIK Ten Hag, but any United fan trusting these players, believing they won't be here in 18 months is foolish. Yeah, listen, I understand that claim. That's where I am looking at Ineos to essentially weed out the rats, weed out the players that are down tools, and they go and they move on. Like that for me, I said it when they arrived. I said it's more important that you get rid of those type of players first than it is the players with higher or lesser quality. You've got to get out bad eggs before anything else. It's so important in life. No dig here. Didn't Liverpool reject Almadin? I don't know. I remember Tom Little crying about it. I thought it was the other way around, but I'll have to ask Tom Little because Tom Little loved him, by the way. Tom Little, if anyone sees Tom Little writing shit about him, this man loved him. Moving on from Man United, because it's been almost an hour on, obviously the biggest club in the world. Of course, it's going to be an hour on Manchester United. I want to touch on the Ballon d'Or quickly because I know Will's got to go soon. We're going to get onto Arsenal. We're going to get onto City. We're going to get onto the Spurs cooking as well, Chelsea. But Ballon d'Or-wise, your club, Will, you took a battering at the weekend. You were absolutely given a circumcision in front of your entire stadium at the weekend. And now you've boycotted going to the awards because Vinicius might not win. You must be very embarrassed over the last few days as a Real Madrid fan.
Yeah, I mean, bro. I was gonna try and spin it some kind of way. Now it was a bad performance, but I mean, to be fair, it's nothing that surprised me. I think if anybody here watches Real Madrid since the season started, we've been pretty shit. And like I've been calling this out. I think we just not been good enough. But in terms of the Ballon d'Or today, I don't blame the club for not going. What's the point in going? It's like you said, we just got battered by Barcelona. We got things to do. So if Vinicius is not going to be winning it,
showing common courtesy to a fellow professional, that's probably why.
Well, no, because Rodri doesn't deserve it. So why would I waste time to go?
Why doesn't he deserve it, bro?
Because Vinicius is the best player in the world. Champions League, La Liga,
it's Rodri.
Hat trick against Barcelona in the Spanish Super Cup final.
It's what you've won.
Where was he on the
Okay, and Vinny won 3 trophies last season.
Even if we accept that Rodri doesn't deserve to win it, do you not think that it's just common courtesy to turn up in the same way that Haaland turned up in 22-23 when Messi won it for some reason? Do you not think it's like as a professional human being that's something that you should do rather than throw your toys out the pram like a little bitch baby?
No, I mean, I don't really care, to be honest with you, bro. Like, that got nothing to do with me. I don't care. Like, I don't blame the club for not going. I feel like it's a complete waste of time. Vinicius should. And then, even if you don't want to say Vinny, I know that Henry brought up, it's about, what you done with Brazil. Okay, so then why isn't Danny Carvajal winning it? Best right back in the world. Scored in the Champions League final.
Sorry, Henry, let him finish. Guys, let's let Will finish and then we'll respond to him just so we can hear what he says. Sorry.
Okay, so if you don't want to say Vinny, okay, then what about Danny Carvajal, right? I mean, I think the way that people are gassing up Rodri is kind of crazy. Like, he's a very good player. He's very important for Man City. But, I mean, how people are going on about this player, when we do best 11s of all time, I need to see Rodri in everybody's best 11, since this is how you guys talk about him like he's the next coming to Jesus Christ. Like, again, good player. But if you want to even look at that, like, Euro final against England, Spain weren't even dominating them until the second half after Rodri came off because he got injured. You put Zubimendi in, they won it. He shouldn't have been the Euro player of the tournament. I think it's massively overrated, bro. And the fact that he's going to win it, the year for Rodri to win it was when City won their treble. But we know that FIFA, they love to suck off Messi. So let's give it to MLS player. And then that's the year that he should have won it. You didn't get it this year. But now when Vinicius is looking like the favorite to win it, then the narrative is football is dead and these different things. But nobody's complaining about a CDM in a robotic system getting it. So football is not dead if he wins it. but it'd have been dead if Vinicius would have won it.
If
You
it's
know, like,
robotic, then why does he show up for Spain
That's
as well?
and
Because he
wait,
shows up for Spain,
That's
and that's
it.
a different matter.
Crazy.
Pep doesn't manage Spain, and he shows up. He's the best. He's the best player for Spain. So
Is
if
he
he
the best
was
player for
robotic,
Spain?
how come he
Because-
shows up for that team?
People are starting to think
Yes,
Vinny,
he is.
Brazil are better without Vinny. And you talk, I'm not a United fan, not even a City fan.
Yeah.
You're saying, would Rodri get in the best 11s of people? Would Vinny get in anyone's best 11s? Because I don't think anyone here would put Vinicius Jr. As much as he's a great player, and as someone who supports Brazil, I love Vinicius Jr. Don't get me wrong, but to downplay how important Rodri is, not only to
It's crazy.
Manchester City, but also to the game of football. What he's doing as a CDM, who can turn into an 8 and score goals, is ridiculous. And how important he is to how Manchester City play. You can say in a robotic system, but you can see the difference when he's not in that team. Rodri is so important to Manchester City and Spain.
Double A. You're even watering it down even too much because it's
Probably.
not even just goals. It's
Probably.
big goals, like big moments. It's not just goals. He
Champions
scores
League
at
winning goals.
the right
Champions
moment in
League
nearly
winning
every
goals.
It's
time.
controlling
like,
a game.
how
Yeah,
are you going to
dictating
try
the
and
tempo.
Will literally
Exactly.
said a CDM working in a robotic system. Like, how can you water down Rodri to that sentence? Are we all
That is
right?
staggering.
Will, like, what's going on? Your club even want to bring him to the club.
No,
That's
you
how
don't.
good he is. Bro.
In
He's the
Will's
best player in
defense-
the
There's
world.
rumors. No, you
I'm
don't.
not a City fan, but he's
In
the
Will's
best player in
defense,
the world.
If we're talking on
Unfortunately for Vinny.
pure footballing ability, then Vinny's the best player in the world.
For
What?
However,
Because he
the
just
award-
flicks, Henry.
I don't know what that
do you mean
means,
pure
though, Henry.
footballing
What does that mean?
that mean?
Ballon
But-
d'Or is
hang
given
on,
to the
hang
best
on.
performing player.
We're not
Vinny
talking
can pick
about.
the ball
Yeah,
up.
can you
Henry, though,
quantify that?
sorry, guys,
Henry?
but hang on. I do. I
Was
hate this when it
Rodri
comes to
even
Ballon
nominated
d'Or.
for Player of the Year for the
But-
Premier League?
But
Or
it's
give him the
irrelevant.
Ballon d'Or, all
Hang on,
together?
guys,
Euro?
guys, guys,
that
hang
was
on,
a
guys,
bollocks
guys.
decision.
Guys, but the Ballon d'Or isn't about who the best player in the world is.
That's
It's the
what I'm trying to
person who it's the person who performed the best
Yeah.
in that calendar year or that previous season. I've
Did
heard
you not
people
see the
before-
season that Vinny had, Terry?
Have
And
you
mind
not
you, he
seen-
missed 2 months last season.
Okay, but let's go
And
back
he
to your
still
point, though,
performed
Will.
at a very high level.
Vinicius-
Was
yeah,
there in the
and he's-
Champions League
hang
knockout
on,
stages.
Will. But I'm going to call out your point you made. Your point
Okay.
is wrong. Thinking that Vinicius deserves to win it is an absolutely fair statement. But the way you dismiss Rodri, like,
Yeah.
why is he even there? That for me is completely disingenuous. He absolutely should be nominated, Rodri. He absolutely should be there. The level of
I didn't say that he
consistency,
shouldn't. I said that
the
he
level of
should win it.
You watered him down.
the level of consistency that this man has shown in the hardest league in the world is phenomenal. And him winning it, I don't think, and I'm a Man United fan saying this, Rodri winning this award, I mean, the first Premier League player to win it, by the way, since Cristiano Ronaldo, him winning it is not a tragedy and not a problem in any capacity. The tragedy here, the disrespect here, is your football club, one of the biggest in the world, acting like a bunch of babies and no longer going to the tournament, into the award ceremony, writing letters, kicking off and crying, saying that Real Madrid don't get respected. I honestly, if that was my football club, I'd want to cry with him back. It's so embarrassing. A club like yours behaving like this is so wrong on so many levels. With the history and the ties that your club has to this award, is crazy in my opinion, bro. That should be the focus here, not a player that
if
deserves to be
Jorginho-
there getting an award.
I mean,
If
he
Jorginho
deserves
can
to
get
be in the
third, then
conversation.
Rodri can win. I'll leave it at that. If Jorginho can finish third in the Ballon d'Or because he won a Champions League and a Euros, Rodri, who scored crucial goals at every stage of the Champions League and won them loads of games last year or won them a point when they needed it, can 100% come first. He's
Wait,
way
can I
better
ask the
than
panel
Jorginho.
something? Can I ask the panel something? For everyone's team here, if you were offered tomorrow either Rodri or Vinny in your team, obviously Will and Nubbins, you stay out of this because you obviously have them.
Mhm.
But everyone here, would you rather have Vinny or would you rather have Rodri in your team?
Vinny.
Okay,
I think Manchester United needs Rodri, don't they, more than he needs?
100%. I'll take Rodri. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would look.
I think
Yeah, because I'd go with Rodri. We've got Marcus Rashford, so I'd go with Rodri.
I think when you look at X Factor, like,
How about David? I want to hear from David. 'Cause David, I know he likes his wingers and his midfield. So
No, this is the problem. Like,
David's saying Rodri straight.
I'd probably take Vinny just because Caicedo and Lavia are doing really well right now. But I mean, like,
he's
Okay,
also
so
young.
if you're building, actually, let me rephrase it. If you're building a team from blank, you have no one yet. You get a
If
first
I'm-
pick, like it's
Rodri,
ultimate team. Who would you take?
Rodri.
Vinny.
That's a
There
better
you go.
question. You saved yourself there.
There's
bro.
no one
Vinny's
better.
got
There's no
3
one better.
Champions League final goals, and we're talking about big moments. Vinny, but Borussia Dortmund are 2-0 up comfortably at the Bernabeu. This guy picks the ball up 60 yards away. When you talk about the thing that separates the elite players to world class is moments. And the last 3 years, no one has had more bigger moments than Vinny at club level. And that's a
The
fact.
last 3 years are irrelevant. It's about the season 23.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
talking generally.
Yeah,
bring
look
up
at
the
the
game
last-
from a few days
And you
ago.
tried to restrict it to club level as well, Henry. You're rude.
No,
to that. You're rude.
just let me make a point across. The reason why Rodri will win the award is because when it comes down to international level, he was unbelievable for Spain, whereas Vinny wasn't for Brazil. However, the point I was making a few minutes ago is the award has always been for the last 15, 16 years, other than 1 year, who has won the Champions League. The only year that where a player won the award who didn't win the Champions League was Messi in the MLS. That is normally the biggest factor. That's why all the way through that campaign.
That is not correct.
It's
Because
a-
the
it's-
years-
Owen won a Ballon d'Or.
Indeed,
Owen
yes,
won a
yes.
Ballon d'Or.
Wait, Henry,
The two
that's
most
correct.
important things in the last like 20 or so years since like Shevchenko won it in 04 or something like that, unless like you had like a mentally insane season. You've got to win an international tournament or you've got to win the Champions League. But those are like the two.
And
But
Nevins,
look at
you're
Vinny
giving
throughout
the
that Champions
Modric
League.
is when he reached.
Quarter-final, semi-final,
Remember when
final.
he took Croatia to
16.
the final against France? He won it that year. And it was a big
Who
part of
was
it,
that,
not
sorry?
just winning the Champions League. A big part of it was that he carried that Croatia team to a final. He didn't win, but that was enough for him to be recognized that year as the best player in the world. So why can't we do the same with Rodri?
Because Spain won
Rodri
with
won
Rodri
four
on
in
the
a row
bench.
as well. He just won 4 in a row in the Premier League.
Oh, Rodri didn't play any games, Will.
You know what I mean?
Rodri didn't play any games.
No, bro.
Oh,
Going
what?
into halftime, it was 0-0. Zubamendi comes
Oh.
on.
Okay, go rewatch
That-
that game
that
against
cancels
France.
the
Go
rest of the
rewatch the game
tournament.
against
Spain
France.
don't
That
win that
cancels the rest of the
without
tournament,
Rodri.
Will. That makes sense. That makes
Can I just
zero
say?
sense.
Can I just wait? Can I just make?
It's not Rodri.
Can I just
Guys,
make?
let's
Can I
go
just make
David
a
for a
point?
second. Go on, David.
The almighty Vinicius Junior, who undeniably deserves to win the Ballon d'Or, got 20 goal contributions last year in the league.
That's not
Cole
true.
Palmer got 32.
20
I just
goal
want to leave that. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm going to
David,
say.
How many
that's
did
fair enough.
Rodri get?
Palmer didn't carry
20 goals
Madrid to the Champions League
contributions.
final and win it.
Genuinely, yeah, I don't want to make this about direct goals and assists, but genuinely, how many more goals and assists did Vinicius get than Rodri last season? That I'd be very interested to know that. It can't be
so-
that many more because Rodri contributed a lot last season. That would be
Who got the
very
most goal
interesting to know.
contributions in the
I
Champions
think it's
League?
like 39 GA, but he also missed 2 months.
That's his fault, though, isn't it? Like what?
Well, wait,
It's not
but you're
Rodri's
asking
fault.
about numbers. Hold on, wait, but you're asking about
Who missed
numbers.
2 months?
So context matters with the numbers.
Who missed
Well, no,
2
the
months?
season
Numbers
matters. If you
don't
miss
even
half,
matter.
if you have a wonderful first half of the season, then you miss the second half. You don't go, oh well, it's wonderful for the first half. It's who had the best season. Whether you miss time is irrelevant.
All right, so Vinny won Champions League,
Nobbins.
La Liga, Spanish Super Cup. I mean, like, come on now.
David.
No, to
Like,
answer
how
your
could you win the
question,
Ballon d'Or,
Rodri
but you didn't even get
17
nominated?
17 GA for a DM. Just want to put that.
What? Can I just
17,
say
yeah.
something? What-
How many
what-
did Vinicius
This
get?
award is complete bollocks anyway, because 2013 Rúbéry should have won it, right?
Who? Hang on.
Lewandowski-
Who?
Rúben.
Frank
Rúbéry?
Rúbéry in 2013. Bayern win the
Rúbéry.
Frank Rúbéry, whatever his name is, he should have won it.
Davis.
Frank Rúbéry at Bayern Munich in 2013. However you pronounce his fucking name, he should have won it.
Not Rúbéry.
Lewandowski should have won it. The award is if your face fits, it's complete bollocks. It's a stupid award.
That's not what we're discussing here.
Staffy, you're on mute.
Oh, my bad.
We're not
I was saying
discussing whether it's
that year of Rúbéry, by the way. See, I almost said it.
Rúbéry.
The year of
Rúbéry
Rúbéry
was a
you're talking
robbery.
about. For a few years, I forgot how many years they combined where they call, you know, the trophy they call it the best, and then there's the Ballon d'Or. It was one thing for about, I don't know, like 15 years, and they've now separated now for like about 3-4 years. So that's why there's two different ones right now. So they both have like a little bit of different voting credentials. So I get what you're saying. It's been a bollocks one. I get what you're saying, but Ballon d'Or. Yeah, I
Either
get
way,
it's two
Real
different
Madrid
things.
are supposed to show up to the.
They're meant to
Very
show
good
up.
point.
Yeah, that doesn't take away that
That's
fact.
what we're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Rúbéry and Rúbéry turned up in 2013.
Yeah. I've got some super chats
Robbery.
here. First one says, if Vinny is so great, what did he do against Barcelona on
Scored a
Saturday?
hat trick in the Spanish Super Cup final just last season. Let's not have
Yeah,
recency
so
bias.
Rainbow.
So when
Come
he
on
does-
now.
He did rainbow flicks.
In the what final?
Their equivalent
As an
of the
Arsenal
Community
fan,
Shield.
I wouldn't
The
expect you to know
Community Shield.
what a trophy
I'm
is.
just asking what
Shield.
trophy it was, Will. We're talking about this weekend's game, and you bring up the Community Shield in Spain. Does that even
The
make
community
sense?
shield is insane. That actually counts.
that even
For
makes sense.
Yeah, it is a
Next time-
serious game.
The
honestly.
next
No,
time
it's a
somebody,
lot more
the,
serious. It's a lot more
the
serious.
next time somebody questions me about Rashford, I'm bringing up that season where he got like 30 goals. I'm going to bring that up. Do you know what I mean? Like irrelevant, but there we go. Bro, I'm not going to lie. Will sound salty. You know, Rodri is top 3. Is what
Can I bring up a
Emmanuel.
point real quick?
Yeah,
You
of
guys
course.
know that UEFA is now involved with the Ballon d'Or stuff now. So I'm just saying they don't like
And they-
Real Madrid because
Oh, they
of-
love you.
Hey, wait,
They
don't
love
love
you.
Real Madrid.
Wait, we're literally trying to form the Super League.
Oh, the
They don't
UEFA
like it. Let's just be
cartel.
honest. That's
Little
what it
baby
is. Come
Real
on now.
Madrid. How are they going to compete? Oh, gosh.
City
Where-
used to
where's
do,
Jurgen
City used to
talking
do the
about?
Champions League anthem, but they're still showing up. So what does that tell you? Don't give me that.
Again?
Sorry, say that again, Double A.
I say City used to do the Champions League anthem, but they're still showing up. They've got stuff against UEFA, but they don't see them crying out and not turning up.
Hey, I just want to say, Double Inter, we're gonna have more players at the Ballon d'Or ceremony than Madrid because Garnacho and Menu should be there. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Is Garnacho there to
Who paid for them? Who sorted the flight out?
Like, what's
I
he
would
doing
love
there?
it. I'd love it if they flew Ryanair there for a laugh. It'd be hilarious. You know what I mean?
Hey, Nobbins, by the way, I didn't forget that you guys couldn't give us a lift to Paris.
Why
you guys are
would
not
they?
good neighbors. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
hey, there was no room in the plane. There was no room in the plane. Chill, chill, chill.
You needed space for Rodri to bring the trophy back anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big up.
That you could be
I'm going to run
embarrassed.
a poll now. Who deserves the Ballon? It's a small O, isn't it? Big D. Hey.
Hey, oh.
I don't even mind if Vinicius wins it. My main issue is that it's the attitude of thinking that you're too good for it to not turn up. I think that's the main issue here. It's actually acting like a petulant child or a petulant club, whichever it is.
But there was rumors that Vinny wanted to go, and it was because of Perez that they're not going.
Yeah, which is mental, isn't it?
could
That's
be that
mad.
too.
Daddy said
so
no.
if it's Vinny, I'm not blaming Vinny.
That's what it
obviously.
probably is.
Yeah.
Because like Florentino Perez, like everything that happens, like he's involved in decision making.
So we've got a poll running right now. Already 62% of the vote is in favor of Rodri. So we'll be coming back to that. Now, obviously, we had some big games at the weekend. Before we get onto the Arsenal one, Henry, what went wrong with Tottenham? You got beat by a side that has not won a game all season. They probably should have beaten you by 2 or 3 clear goals.
Mhm.
James Maddison was dragged off again. What went wrong for Spurs, mate?
Probably should have had a man sent off as well. With
Oh,
Van der
100%
Ven.
should, yeah.
You know, that decision alone just kind of sums up the officiating in this league. If that's another game, that's a red card. But we were just the worst performance of the season. And I don't know how you win 8 of your last 9 games in Europe and in the league, beat Man United, absolutely annihilate West Ham, and then turn up to a Crystal Palace side who have scored 5 goals in the league before playing us, haven't won a game, and we just turn into tracing paper. Because that's what that performance was. That was a fucking disgrace. And the fact that everyone, you know, I said this on the top 6 show. I think me and Kate were here, and I was like, look at the next 3 games. We want some consistency. And me and Kate both said this. And then we follow it up with an absolutely diabolical performance. We've got Villa coming up. We've got City twice coming up. We've got Galatasaray away. Like, as great as the last 8 results have been in the League Cup, in the Europa League, in the Premier League, we've lost 4 of our opening 9 games. Like, James Maddison getting hooked off 3 games in a row is alarming. That is clearly saying that the manager doesn't have faith in our most creative player. Now, Dejan Kulusevski, probably been our best player this season. He wasn't at the races. But Dominic Solanke, does anyone know how many clear-cut chances we've created for Dominic Solanke in the Premier League?
No.
Just have a guess.
3.
12.
6.
Wow.
And 3 of those apparently, sorry, this might be other than the goals he scored. 3 of those were against Leicester in the first game of the season. We've got a striker who's a fox in the box, who gets majority of his goals in and around that 6-yard box. Yeah, we're not creating anything for him. Romero, oh my days. Right, this every game we've lost this season, Romero has been at the heart of it. If you're being pressured, you don't have to play Sunday League. You don't have to play Champions League to know that if in doubt, kick it out. He doesn't. A hospital ball to Van der Ven. Van der Ven's not switched on. We get pressed, and then that lamppost, Jean-Philippe Mateta, scores against us. They should have had a second. They probably should have had a third. But I just don't understand the inconsistency of this team. You win 8 of 9 games. You look relatively good. You're scoring the second or third most. I think we're second top goal scorers in the league. Sorry, one behind Chelsea, third highest goal scorer in the league. You know, Mikey Moore finally gets his start, which I've been saying he needs it for ages because Werner stinks. And he comes away with 0-0-0. 0 key passes, 0 touches in the box. I don't think we can crucify a 17-year-old that because he's got a hell of a lot of ability, but he won't be here long if we carry on playing like this.
Nah.
Man City will come in 2 years' time and buy Mikey Moore 100%. He's a City player.
Relax.
No, he is. He can play the 10. He can play out wide. That's exactly what Pep wants. Someone that can play multiple positions that has got moments in him. That's 100%. He'll snap him up. But like you said earlier, Man United won't get top 4. If Rúben comes in, you're 6 points off of top 4 right now. New manager bounce. You win a few games. I'd back him to make semi-final of the Europa. He's a good manager. You've only got to win 2 games and you've practically qualified. So you've got Bodo Glimt.
I mean, to be fair, we're still in playoffs. We're not even out of playoffs. With 3 points, we're still in playoffs.
And like all due respect to my football club, if you're playing us in a 2-legged game, every single person's going to back Man United. Because that's just it's Spursy, but it's alarming. It's alarming. We've lost 4 of our opening 8 games.
At least you'll be able to beat City's kids on Wednesday, though. So that's a plus.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, you're going to turn up with Matete and Riley and still dunk on us. Yeah, like.
Do you know? I always say this. I always say it. No matter how bad things get at Man United, I'm so glad my dad is a Spurs fan. Told me not to support that club. Thank you, Dad. I love you forever. So thank you so much, Dad. You're the best dad in the world. I'm the most liberal father ever. Literally, me and my brothers, we can do what religion we want. We can date who we want. We can do whatever we want as a job. And my dad, who is a 6'4", bald-headed, gammon-looking geezer, he's a lovely bloke. But the best thing he ever did, you know, he's the most liberal man ever. But the best thing he ever did is say, boys, you had 5 of us. Support whatever club you want. Doesn't need to be local. Doesn't need to be in London. He went, but just make sure it ain't Spurs. So, Dad, I love you. You're the best. Like two of my brothers pick Leyton Orient rather than their dad's team Spurs.
We've probably got more chance of seeing success down at the O's. We've also got to talk about our away form. Losing to Brighton, losing to Palace, losing to Newcastle, couldn't beat Leicester. The only away game we've won all season was at Man United. And if you had an actual manager that could coach a football team, that would have been a much more even game. But I'll be honest, with City, Villa, City, Bournemouth away, all coming up. Yeah, if I speak, yeah.
As I said last week, the one team I will never show any respect to is Spurs because they don't deserve it.
Sorry. Yeah, but how do we get out of this narrative? Like, eventually, the owners have got to change that because this is beyond a joke now. We haven't won a trophy for.
Do they have to change something though? That's good. Do they have to change something? If they're making money, why do they have to change something?
Because the game's about, at the end of the day, the game's about winning.
That's what you think. That's what you think the game's about, Henry. That's what you think the game's about.
Spurs fans are happy with good football.
Do the owners share your feelings?
Yeah, but that like the narrative that that Daniel Levy doesn't want to win silverware. He's created. You are right. They don't want trophies. They just want to earn a pound note, and that's why we're earning more on a match day than I think United at one point were level, but we're earning more on a match day now because we've got all these different revenue sources. But surely, if the club's bringing in more money, you should put more money into the football club. But we are putting money in, but we are buying absolute horseshit. Timo Werner's on 165 grand a week. Anyone all jokes aside,
he's a Champions League winner. Pay him his money. Man.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to spend like 20 all this time ripping into us because we have been okay in a lot of games this season. But what Premier League side does Timo Werner start for?
Apparently us, because Will doesn't want to rate our team.
No, all jokes aside, Mikey Moore starts every single Premier League game over him, and he's 17. He's 17. Right, let's be honest. Does he start at Fulham? Does Timo Werner start at Fulham? Probably not.
Probably not.
Does he start at Brentford?
He's not better than. Is he better than Adama Traore?
No.
It's a good question.
You see what Adama Traore did to Kyle Walker the other day?
That's a proper mid off that, isn't it?
Didn't score.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Spurs,
It's really
you got
interesting.
to remember, Spurs are 8th in the league, right? But you're only 2 points ahead of Man United in 14th.
Yeah, that's the Man United. That's the worst performing Man United.
One is in the
we've
top
seen
4
ever.
fight, and the other one is can't be in it. Okay, man.
Oh,
See?
again, Staffy, I don't believe either of you are. So
Okay, fair enough.
Again, can I just to answer Henry's question? I'm putting my hand up whenever I've got an interesting fact. Spurs have not won a trophy in the last 16 years, 243 days, 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 54 seconds. The number one at the time when Spurs last won a trophy was Mercy by Duffy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a great. That was a tune. That was, you know.
Great tune.
That's a great tune. That's a great.
That was a
tune.
good tune. That was a great
Spurs
tune.
have no mercy on Henry, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Spurs are begging for mercy now, innit, for a trophy. 100%.
I'm begging you for mercy.
Spurs
Why
take more
don't
money
you
from.
release me? Yeah. Henry, I might make you sing that when we finish above you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to take that bet back
No, they can't do that.
I keep it.
because it's like, what are you saying, Nobbins?
That's mad.
I was
Speaking of
just gonna
Chelsea,
say-
though.
oh,
Sorry,
sorry,
go on.
Tek,
Sorry,
I
go on, Nobbin. Go
I
on,
was just
go
gonna say that Spurs like make more money from their fans than Real Madrid. Like,
Yeah. And that's
which
that
is
is
just-
the that's
Wow.
the
Only-
only thing. We make more money than the biggest club in the
Sensational.
world. and we win nothing.
only PSG, Barcelona, and Man United. I think they're the only other clubs who take more money from match day than Spurs.
Is that on like? Can you see where that's? Is that from tickets?
Yeah, that
Is
might,
that
I think that's
from-
just gate. I think that's just gate.
That's in respect of match day revenue. So
Yeah.
Oh, right,
they're
okay.
charging the fans, fourth most
20
in
quid for a hot dog
Europe,
and a beer.
and this is the situation that you're in.
Disgrace.
It's about £3 grand a
£20.
season ticket there as well. Isn't it? About £3 grand a season ticket, isn't it? Something like that.
Should be free, mate.
What ours?
Yes, thousands.
They
isn't
should
it?
be paying the fans at that
cheapest
point.
one is about 1,200. They go all the way up to like 3,200.
Right. Wow.
What's the cheapest? Wait, what's the
£3,200.
cheapest?
It's about. I think it's like £1,180, 1,200 quid, something like that.
Should be
It's
an
like-
addition on your
That's
Oyster
like
card,
4
is that?
times as much as mine. That's insane.
Yeah, no, you can get a Bayern Munich season ticket for €240.
But I blame Spurs fans slightly. You're being robbed. And listen, this time last year, you were all sitting there going, "We've got our Tottenham back. We've got our..." And that's a problem. You literally were at the end of the rainbow because you won a few games and played pretty. And I'll be honest with you, I still think match going anyway, of the match going Spurs fans, I think a good 60-70% are just happy if the football looks pretty. I think they don't care about anything else.
No,
If that
higher than
football's
that.
pretty. Higher than that. Okay, well, there we go.
90%.
You lot should actually have the Magpies, just like Newcastle. You know what I mean? Just you're I'm about to say attracted to something shiny and silver. You're not, are you? That's a bad analogy. So I'll move on. Before we get onto the Arsenal game, there's quite a bit to go from that. Another good win yesterday for Chelsea, David.
Yeah, Reece James played 90 minutes. Robert Sanchez is still a terrorist in goal. Thank you and good night. Pretty good.
That pass from Cole
honestly,
Palmer,
it was just one of those. Oh mate, Cole Palmer again. Cole Palmer, he's the best. I've said it. He's the best player in the league, and no one. It's the only person who I hear an argument for is Haaland. But apart from that, no one. I don't care. That pass is out of this world. It is a joke.
Does Mo Salah not play football?
And then the
anymore?
goal is.
So,
Who?
does Mo Salah not play football anymore, or what are we doing here? Mo Salah is up there. Come
Why are
on,
you scratching your head, David? Why don't scratch?
come on, man.
Hey,
No, but
yeah, I was wondering.
But
I was wondering.
Cole Palmer. No, but Cole, you know what? I hear Salah.
Why are you
I hear Salah-
beatboxing? Why are you beatboxing now, bro? Why are you
I'll let Salah in the club. I'll let Salah in the club.
Do you mean
Salah,
based on
Haaland,
form,
and
David,
Palmer,
to be
they
fair
have a
to you? Do you mean
conversation.
more based on form or based off the start of the season?
More based
overall?
on form? More based on
Yeah,
form.
that's
But
reasonable, I
genuinely-
think. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I genuinely think,
Let's say
I
he's
genuinely
the
think
most
Cole Palmer is
informed
the
player in
best
the league.
player in
You
the
can say
Premier
that.
League, and he will be for like the next 5 years. Like the guy is just unbelievable. And also, Caicedo and Lavia. That midfield two there is nice. Enzo, hold bench. I don't care. You got hold bench for now, bro. Because you're just not better than either of these two. These guys are balling, winning the ball back, composed, turning in the midfield. It just looks nice. And we hold our shape really well when it's those two. When Enzo came on, it was a little bit here, there, and everywhere. So, like, those two play. Cole Palmer, best player in the Premier League. Nicholas Jackson. Oh, Nicholas Jackson. Oh, forgot about Jack.
Has more goals than
Nico.
Havertz, apparently. Goals and assists.
Oh, Nico. Open play goals. Do you see the hold-up play, the link-up? Oh, I'm having a good time over here. I'm having a good time, and I'm enjoying life. Thank you. It's lovely.
Wait, Terry,
Actually, watch Chelsea.
I want to ask Terry something. Do you still think Rasmus is better than Nico? Put your bias aside because I know you're like.
I'm going to refer to what you said earlier. Let's wait until we got a competent manager.
He's becoming a lawyer now.
But look, I mean, but on a real level, all jokes aside, look at the improvements in a player like Jackson since the team's being well drilled. You can look at a more standout example. Everybody thought that Lewandowski was finished when he went to Barca and they were struggling for 2 years. The team is cooking again. 14 goals already this season in the league. I don't know what he's got in all competitions. I haven't looked. But the point is, I think I understand sometimes you criticize player performances, but you have to look at the fact that when the whole team looks bad, it tells me more it's about the coaching, the drills, the training than anything else. Yeah, but Chelsea look amazing at the minute. They really, really do. And they're well inside this top 4 race. And look, if they're within a handful of points at the top come January, and they go and get that new, because the new goalkeeper is more important than a striker, in my opinion, because Sanchez is the only player really letting you guys down. This Chelsea team just looks amazing at the moment. This year says actually Henry is okay, but Deji is something else. We love Deji on the terrace. In El Clasico, how bad was Mbappe? Even he had more shots than the Ballon d'Or favorite Vinicius. This is true.
More offsides as well, probably.
I think he broke a record, 8 offsides in one game. It was 8 offsides. David, I don't know if you watched I just watched the highlights. I promise you, if you just go watch the highlights, every second highlight is just the offside. It was actually embarrassing how they played such a high line, and every time he fell for it. Every time. It is the most embarrassing performance I've ever seen from a striker playing on a high line. If it was any of our players, I swear they'd be a meme.
Yeah, it was awful to watch. Thoughts on a slander name, Scammering. It's quite good, actually, to be fair. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Obviously, yesterday we saw a big game. Liverpool went to the Emirates. It ended, Kunle, 2-2 in the end. Obviously, some controversy around VARs and referees again. But on performance-wise, how happy were you with Arsenal, considering the injuries before the game, the suspensions, and then 3 of your first-team players having to go off with injuries in the game again, or because of fitness issues again? What did you make of it, mate?
Do you know what? Overall, it was just a mad game overall from start to finish. From the lineup, first of all, to see Saka and Timber in it, happy to see that. Partey right back always worries me, but he ended up having a really good game. It's strange because to be in a position 80 minutes or 79 minutes gone, 2-1 up. I know we had injuries. I'm like, just get it done, boys. Literally, just get it done. You're at home, get it done. And the way we conceded was just stupid. Like Kivior, man, he's just not that guy. But what I will say, and I don't need anyone to acknowledge it or not, but Bukayo Saka is him. He is him. Like, I don't need anyone to tell me. I don't need any rival fan to say, is he world class, not world class? He is him. He's world class. End of. I don't care. The guy is too much. Came out, back off injury, done the business. Like, I don't know what Robertson was doing, the stanky leg or something down there, but it was crazy. Overall, it was a good game. Liverpool were very lucky to get a point, but at the end of the day, I don't think we're out of the title race. Definitely not. But it was, I think, 2 points lost and a point gained in that situation. Even though we did have those injuries, we should have still figured a way to get it done. I'm disappointed.
Throw it out to the panel. What we saying about that game? Because some people have said are now saying Arsenal are out the title race, sack the manager. Others feel they're still in it. I suppose Nobbins, as City who are top, how do you view the situation now with Liverpool and Arsenal after that result?
I think my opinion hasn't changed. I still view Arsenal as the bigger threat to City than Liverpool. I still think that there is a gap between Liverpool and City and Arsenal, in my opinion. I think that we two sit in a slightly higher tier to Liverpool. I think Liverpool sits ahead of everyone else, if that makes sense. Yeah, hasn't really changed my mind in that sense. And I need Arsenal to drop points in these sort of like first half of the season, because if you look at stuff like the last half of the season, it makes sense because the first half is so tricky for them. Like, I'm looking at the last 15 games, and there is genuinely a world where Arsenal win the last 15 games in a row. Like, that could actually happen. So I need Arsenal to drop as many points now, whilst it's tricky games, because it could, come like February, everyone will be like, oh, they're 7-8 points behind. There's no way they're going to do it. But then they go on some sort of mad run, which would include, a victory against City at the Emirates, which definitely could happen. And then that leads, that gap shrinks real quick. So thankfully they've got some tricky games coming up. Newcastle away, isn't it, next? And then Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So I do need them to drop a few more points. I still think Liverpool are a level below.
It's the lesser teams in the last couple of years where they have dropped the points. It's drawing
sure, yeah. I guess like on paper they should be winning them, but it seems like every single year Arsenal are getting progressively like better and better and more sure of themselves. So I can only assume they're going to do better in the later game as well. So I'm still very confident saying Arsenal finish ahead of Liverpool. And given City's issues this season, I know we are top, but given our issues, I'm still concerned that Arsenal could potentially win the title. Of course,
I think the January window is going to whoever has, if City go out and bring in a Martin Zubimendi or a player of Cala, or Liverpool go out and bring in a left back and a midfielder, or Arsenal go out and bring in a number like a free. Hypothetically, if Arsenal go out and sign Alexander Isak due to his contract issues, that swings it massively. If Arsenal go out and bring in a forward who can pick up the game by the scruff of the neck and drag them out of some of these situations where they are getting 10 men sent off, I think it changes massively. But City at the moment, I've got to be thinking we're 5 points clear after 9 games, and City aren't destroying teams at the moment, but still 5 points at this stage is massive.
Yeah, and I guess like from a City hope perspective, we haven't started the season particularly well from a performance perspective. I know we've got a lot of points and we are top, but in terms of like the standards that I know that City can reach, we haven't really played that well for the most part, certainly in like the last few weeks. So my hope is that we do crack on as we do tend to. We sort of like it sort of clicks around like February, March time, doesn't it? In like the past few years. So hopefully it's a similar thing.
How good has Vardy been this season, by the way?
I think he's the best left back in the world. I think.
I mean,
he's a centre back.
I don't think you can argue with it.
Yeah. Now maybe
what's
that's
up with
because
his right foot though, Nobbins? What's going on with that?
Well, he's clearly lied about that on his resume, hasn't he? He's clearly right-footed. Like there's no way he hasn't scored a goal for City with his left foot. It's only been with his head or his right foot.
A centre back is the best left back in the world.
Yeah, it's mad. Now I would say that's because there aren't too many amazing left backs in the world right now. I think
you still got Ronaldo, you still got Mendy at Madrid.
He's also Henry. He's just never been just a centre back. He's always been able to play centre back and full back. I've been calling him world class since before the World Cup in 2022. So 2022? Am I right? Am I bugging?
Yeah,
I think so. The World Cup. Yeah, like, he's always been
your flowers. Is that what it is?
No. Yeah. I want my flowers. I actually do want my flowers because Terry was here when I said he's world class. Everyone looks at me like, who even is this guy? He's played at Leipzig. I was like, nah, he's cold. He's different class, and he's carried it on since he got.
We got to check the tapes, Dave. We got to check the tapes.
You sound like Don.
So you can come with receipts, but we can't. Double standards.
No. I've always when I see a young player I actually like, I'll back them to the hill. But there are some young players who I think right now are getting a little bit. The gas is a bit too much considering how little they've done, and they need to calm it down. But we won't get into that. I'll wait. There's an opportunity for that.
On yesterday's game, Kalei made a point, Double A, about Saka being him, Saka being that guy. Did he prove it yesterday, coming back from an injury and playing as well as he did against a team like Liverpool?
Oh, absolutely. I don't understand this criticism that he gets. I love Bukayo Saka. I think he's, for me, outside of, well, I say United, I don't actually like any United players. He's probably my favourite player in the Premier League, to be honest with you. I absolutely love him. Loved him for a long time, and I think he proves time and time again how important he is to Arsenal. And, you know, Arteta keeping it secret, playing him and him showing up and scoring that fantastic goal. Man, I honestly, I think he's such a wonderful talent and humble guy, and deserves to be praised as one of the best players in the league for me. I don't understand. Again, I don't understand the hate he gets, and he's criticised ridiculously. And
that's it.
Do you know why he gets the hate?
Well, yeah, true.
And our fan base are a lot.
The reason why he doesn't get as much hate as the Fodens and etc. is he hasn't done it in the latter stages of the Champions League yet. Like Foden turns up at the Bernabeu, Vardial. I think Vardial scored in that game as well.
He did, yeah.
Did weak foot outside the box.
Yeah.
When Saka's done it in Champions League semi-finals, quarterfinals, finals, won that trophy, then he'll get a lot more respect.
We don't need the respect, man. He's him. He's that guy. Yeah, everyone can see it. He performs week in, week out, season in, season out. It's like this is 3 seasons and then some right now. So whatever he needs to do, he said it was for country he had to do. Then he had to do it playing in the Champions League. Now it's scoring in the Champions League latter stages. I beg. I beg. He's world class. I beg.
He's for me, he gets in every team in the league, I think. Every team in the league.
Facts.
Even City. I think he even gets in City.
In the world. If Real Madrid got a chance to sign him, he'll get into that team. How about that?
And then he wins the Ballon
d'Or. Hang on, right? Whoa.
Yeah, he starts over Rodrigo. He's a better right winger than Rodrigo.
So. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right winger than Rodrigo, not left winger. Right winger.
But when it comes to the biggest game, look at Rodrigo's record against City in the Champions League.
I don't care about his record against City. I'm talking about if it in terms of right wing, Saka is better than Rodrigo, bro. If you're saying an overall player, I'm not saying that because obviously he's got the
like when City play Real Madrid, they fear Rodrigo.
But as a right winger, Saka is benching Rodrigo.
Saka's defo top 10.
Sorry, he's defo what? Sorry,
Saka's defo.
Your internet is acting up.
Yeah, they're stopping him from saying a madness.
I heard top, and that was it.
I think he said top 10.
I said Saka's like a top 10 player in the Prem, very comfortably. Not sure if he's top
Prem history.
Yeah, of course.
5.
No.
Palmer's top 5.
I think he's top 5.
Bro. How about that? If Palmer's top 5, Saka's top 5.
100%.
No, but
if you want to remove your boy, then we can do that.
No.
Yeah,
Please.
I think
respectfully.
Respectfully, your boy's done it for a year.
I'm not putting those
two
in the
for
same.
3 years.
They're not in the same. Do you know what I mean? Because right now,
your guy's not in my category yet.
There's Haaland, there's Salah,
Trent,
Alisson,
Van Dijk.
Palmer's not in Saka's category yet.
I think Saka's been the best player in the league this season. To be fair, I think Saka's been better than Palmer this season.
You think Saka's been better than Haaland?
I said Palmer, but also Haaland, yeah.
Palmer.
I think he's been the best player so far.
He's not about the banter. He speaks how it is, man.
You're lost.
Can you say why?
9 games in, but I still think that, yeah.
You think
can you say why?
I think I'll put him 6. I'll put him 6.
Where was Palmer at Anfield, bro?
No, I genuinely want to know his opinion. That's what I'm asking. Like, why do you think
one game? We're talking about big moments in big games, bro. Are we not talking about?
When it comes to the big moments,
because when it's Saka, it's like when he does it in a big final. Now it's Palmer. It's like, oh, we don't care about big games.
I'm not hating on Saka.
Guys, one at a time, please.
He was hooked at half time against City.
Wait, who?
The biggest of the biggest game, he was the one that had to get sacrificed to change your shape. They kept Martin Elliott. I know, but like in the biggest moment, like I'm not.
Really, bro. Really, that's the example you use. Really?
No, but like Palmer's been better than Saka. It's not like he has.
No problem.
If you this is the I think if you take Palmer out of Chelsea, they like I think they crumble to a degree.
Take Saka out of Arsenal, we struggle.
No, I still think you get results. I still think you get a hell of a lot of results.
These examples you're using are crazy.
Right,
Saka got hooked because he went down to 10 men. If Palmer wasn't playing that, like how is that this? What you're going about?
Hear your point.
For the last 3 years, not including this season, Bukayo Saka has been a consistent performer for club and country. And Palmer has not done that.
I agree with that.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my example. Palmer's not done that yet. When he's done that for 3 years for club and country consistently, now when he's getting double teamed and people are focusing on him because he's the main guy, then we'll give him his flowers. Until then, let's just take it easy. By the end of the season, I might change my tune for sure because he's a freaking baller. I'm not taking that away from him, but he's not on Saka's level yet, bro. He's not.
So it's a valid argument. I think you could say it's early doors. However, Palmer walks into that Chelsea team that are in the absolute pits and gets more GA than anyone in the league other than, I think the only one who got more was Haaland. Euros, comes off the bench, assists Watkins, scores in the final. You can clearly see this isn't going to be a one-season wonder.
Can we stop bigging up a goal in a game that England lost, please? I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know why we keep doing
it. It's England.
Why are we doing that? Are we that much of a loser?
The thing is, though, guys, with these arguments, I'm going to be honest with you again. I understand why they happen. I think we're nitpicking over two very, very, very good football players, and it's starting to not on the same level, but it reminds me of the Ronaldo Messi debates. I'm finding them a little bit jarring because they're both fucking amazing, and it's a bit like we were talking earlier with Will and the way he spoke about Rodri to begin with. He definitely said this. I didn't mishear him. He made it sound like Rodri shouldn't even be there. What's going on? Why is this Rodri guy winning it? And I think that these two are just amazing. I think that you don't need to think Palmer's better than Saka or Saka's better than Palmer to respect the other one. And I feel like we're going down this road. And I know tribalism matters and I understand it. But it just, maybe it's my age, maybe I'm getting old. I just feel a bit uncomfortable when we try and play down the quality of both of these individuals. And on Saka yesterday in this game, again, he faded, yes, but that's because he came into the game about 30-40% full of match fitness. And he still did that, what he did to the best defensive team in Europe so far this season. And that just deserves huge amount of credit. On the game itself, I did want to ask about the contentious decision towards the end. There was this situation, a foul was given, which a lot of Arsenal fans were upset about. Referee delay blowing the whistle until they looked like they might score. Staffy, what was your take on that? Was that harsh on Arsenal, or do you think it was fair from the referee?
I think it was a foul on Szoboszlai, if anything, not the other way around. Because usually in football, when there's a header being won, when you don't participate in it and you're technically hindering the player. So who was it? Kivior that was jumping. When you're there and you get in his way and they fall the way that they fall, they usually give it a foul.
You're saying Szoboszlai committed the foul. Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys say it when you say it against. So
yeah, if you're saying a foul was sorry. So if you say a foul is on someone, you're saying they got fouled. So you're saying Szoboszlai committed the foul.
So I think Kivior got fouled, not the other way around.
Okay.
Because as I said, when there's a ball in the air, and if you don't jump, that little bridge that they always do, that's what they call it. When they bend their back like that and they set a bridge, that actually leads to injuries to the player that wants to contend for the ball in the air. So it's always a foul on the other person. So if anything, Szoboszlai right there, the offense should have been on him, not Kivior. So I don't know why that was given a foul against Arsenal, if anything.
My only thing with the decision was because Anthony Taylor blew up, the Liverpool defense actually just stopped. So, like, when Arsenal go and score, you look at the rest of the defense, apart from Kelleher, they're all just walking because they've heard a whistle and they've just stopped. So I don't think
there's a player that runs to the goal, bro. There's a defender.
Yeah, but Van Dijk and Konate,
no. But I'm talking about Van Dijk and Konate have just stopped because they've heard a whistle, and who's like the argument could be they could trap back and block it on the line, like because Anthony Taylor's blown up too early, you've kind of ruined the opportunity for the moment to happen. If he doesn't blow up at all, and then they all flow back, and then Arsenal score, I'd kind of hear the arguments a bit more because he blew up way before the chance even happened. So yes, Anthony Taylor is I thought he actually had quite a decent game, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he just had one bad moment. But the one bad moment, because he blew up early, it kind of just negates the whole bit anyway. So it's like it is what it is. That's
he blew early. Sorry. That's the bottom line, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the blowing early is weird to me. What about the Van Dijk potential red card? 2 kickouts at Kai Havertz. I've watched the game back, and you do see Anthony Taylor lip read. I saw what you did. So he's seen him kick out twice. Have Liverpool and Van Dijk got a little bit lucky there, Double A?
Oh yeah, massively. Like I think You see, you watch it anytime. It's a sending off. Like, it's just nothing more to say. It's a blatant sending off for Van Dijk there and for Liverpool. I don't see how that's got through, that's got past. And if the referee has said, I've not seen that, but if the referee has said that to him, that again just flies in the face of what was a really bad day for refereeing in this country. I think we all know the ineptitude that the PGMOL just consistently show up on Premier League, and to be the best league in the world, apparently, to have the worst standard of refereeing in the world for me. I mean, you've seen referees getting chased around the pitch by dogs and, you know, cartels. It's still Premier League referees are still worse than that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't get how he got away with it. And I've seen, you know, United have got away with stuff in the past. Every team here, and every team in the league gets away with things. But on the stage of what that game is, you know, a massive game between two of the biggest sides in the country, going for the league, entertaining game, to get away with that really is an insult to football for me. And I think he definitely deserved it. Is it because it's Van Dijk he gets away with it? I think he does get a free ride a little bit, Van Dijk. He's seen as this, you know, well, to some people, the best defender that the Premier League's ever had, which is crazy to me. But yeah, it's not surprising that he got away with it, but it is surprising because it was such a blatant red card.
Didn't the referee say, or didn't Howard Ward say that they tried to keep 11 men on the pitch in these big games?
Yes, he did.
They've not done that to Arsenal, have they? So,
yeah, there's two decisions in this game which go against Arsenal, which just kind of adds to their, you know, the narrative that the referee's against them. Like, if that's a red card for Van Dijk, Arsenal win that game 100%. If the red card decision, if they have 11 men on the pitch, and I know they're all separate instances, so we can't really put them all under one roof, but how many instances this season have gone against Arsenal? I'm not. This isn't Henry Talks Arsenal or the Arsenal Terrace. Like, how many decisions this season have gone against Arsenal? Like, on another day, that's a red card for Van Dijk. Van de Ven. How is Van de Ven not sent off? The exact.
I think if Gabriel
same
kicks like that, he gets sent off. By the way,
Yeah.
Imagine Gabriel kicks someone.
It's one of them ones where it's like the same tune, like complaining about the refs is just long now. Like, I don't even talk about it because everyone will just say, "Oh, you're just making excuses." Like, the refereeing is awful. That's just the bottom line. So you gotta just find a way, to not have to rely on them. That there's no other answer now because they're clearly not getting better in any way, shape, or form. So we just gotta find a way, score a couple extra goals. So if you get screwed over, it's only by one. I don't know.
I think
it's funny that last week Kudos got sent off for kicking Van de Ven, but obviously that one was a little bit more. You could tell it was a little bit more aggressive, but the concept is still the same. He was frustrated. He kicked him. He got sent off. Then a week later, Van Dijk kicks him. It doesn't look as malicious as aggressive, but it's still the same concept. You kick someone, and you didn't get. So I kicked him twice actually. I think personnel, right. That's why personnel plays a very big part. I don't think if he's Van Dijk and someone that's like widely respected in the Premier League and he's a Premier League vet, he's been doing this for a while, I think they give him a little bit more leeway versus, as you saw, Kudos, someone who hasn't really proven anything in the Premier League, plays for a much smaller club than Liverpool. It's much easier to send him off. And this is why, Terry, I said on your show last week, I said, some of the rules just don't make sense. And this is why, like, I hate complaining about referees. I want to complain about the rules more. And we need some more rules that are just black and white. Whereas, like, if you provoke someone off the ball, kick someone, punch someone, it doesn't matter if it's soft or not, everyone suffers the same thing. So when you have a case where one looks a little bit more aggressive than the other, because remember Casemiro, when he put his hands on someone's neck, he got sent off. Someone else did it. It looked less malicious. He stayed on. It should be the concept. Yeah. It should be a black and white rule. Yeah. Put your hands on someone or kick him, get sent off. If you don't,
we've got to remove the subjectivity's got to be removed. I think what stands out for me is, again, I keep saying it, I don't think there is a direct conspiracy to hurt Arsenal. I don't think the referees get together and deliberately plan to hurt Arsenal. The reason I say that is because Crystal Palace got screwed over yesterday. And people think, well, they won, so it doesn't matter. No, it does. Because they could have scored more goals after that point. And who knows if a goal difference is going to help keep you up this year or get you just one league position higher leads to more prize money, which helps a team like Crystal Palace. Man United, you could argue it's helped us because the manager's gone, but the penalty that we conceded yesterday was nothing short of a disgrace. And the fact that I've seen Liverpool, Arsenal, City fans come out and say, I can't even banter it. It's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Lets me know that it's not specific against Arsenal. But if you're an Arsenal fan and you love your club and all you really care about is Arsenal, let's be objective for a minute and drop a hate for a rival for a moment and just think about this like a normal person. You see Saliba get sent off, Howard Webb defends it. Dermot Gallagher defends it. Mike Dean, all of the ex-referees defend it and say, no, it's right and distance and da-da-da-da-da-da. Since then, you've had Tosin do it. You kind of had the one yesterday with Colwell, but he tries to use his feet.
No, that's not a red card. That's
Hang on.
not a red card. That is
Please let me finish. No, the reason why you could probably defend that one is because, again, when you're the last man or it's denying a clear goal scoring opportunity, it's only you're red if there's no attempt to play the ball by the defender. So this is what's silly. If Saliba slide tackles from behind last Saturday, he doesn't get sent off because he's trying to play the ball. You can't pull him down. But then you literally get the Van der Ven one and you've got the Tosin one. There are subtle differences between all of them. I even heard that the journalists talking about Van der Ven's one are lying. They're saying the ball was moving away from goal. Fucking wasn't. It was bouncing towards goal. Now, Sarr's running away from goal because of his starting position to get to the ball. But one good touch and he's in on goal, not sent off. I can understand why an Arsenal fan feels hard done by in that scenario. I understand why an Arsenal fan feels hard done by when Kovacic isn't sent off, they come out and defend it by saying we want to try and keep 11 men on the pitch against each other in big games. Trossard, who I think does something stupid, and I understand why he gets sent off, kicks the ball away. They couldn't quick enough make it 11 versus 11. You'll probably find they're going to defend the Van Dijk situation in the same way by now saying we try and keep 11 men on the pitch. It isn't even the decisions in themselves. It's partly that and the inconsistency. It's then the way they never just put their hands up and say, do you know what? We fucked up. The rule's bad. We're going to try and change this. It's the way they continually try and defend it. And I've heard in the last 3 weeks, there's been 4 decisions of last man that a clear goal scoring opportunity. They've all been so similar, it's unbelievable. But if each time they've agreed with what the referee did on the pitch, and I sit there and think, that doesn't even make sense to an outsider. And it's becoming an absolute joke. And of course, what they did today, and I knew they would, we'll defend the Man United one and say we got it wrong because no one's going to really care today because United are crap, they're in the mud. Then the managerial sacking happens and it'll be brushed under the carpet. And Man United fans will start feeling better about the club, hopefully. And then when Webb in 2 weeks does his show on Sky, we'll do the United one because they'll be happy by then. They're not going to care that we're going to say we made a mistake there anymore because that's over, that's gone with, that's done. They're very strategic with it. And I think football fans are seeing through it. And like I've said already, it doesn't take, if you're an Arsenal fan and you're angry you went defensive in the second half, you can criticize your approach in the second half and criticize refereeing decisions. You can be angry at Delo, Garnacho, Bruno for missing sitters yesterday. You can be angry with the manager's substitutions and you can be angry with that penalty decision. I don't understand why we have created as fans, when I think this helps us. We've created this world of like, no, it's got to be one subject is the talking point about my team. We're either good, we were bad, or we got robbed. It can't be all three. Well, no, I think you can praise good parts of the game, criticize poor parts of the game, and slag off a refereeing decision. I think they could all coexist at the same time. And I thought Arsenal's decisions were poor yesterday, but I thought the Palace decision was horrendous. The Man United decision was just an abomination. And I don't know how it's going to change. I think we're the biggest problem collectively as fans because we're far too quick to jump on the laughing bandwagon and say it's okay, it's fine, stop being victims, as opposed to standing together and calling this out. Because all we guarantee with the way we behave is that what somebody else this forthcoming weekend is going to be absolutely robbed. And not all the games are going to be like Man United. Sorry to rant about this, but they're not all going to be where we've missed 100 chances and then we lose. Some of these games are close between very similar or very good teams, and these decisions matter. They really, really do. So, yeah, it's just the state of our refereeing in this country is crazy.
I was going to say the next. I think the next group of Howard Webb reviews is actually going to be really interesting, just because I feel like every decision that's happened that's been bad has happened 4 different times for 4 different teams. They've all had different outcomes. So like when Sky Sports, hopefully when Sky Sports go to them, so you gave a red card for this, why did you not give a red card here? And he gives an explanation. Hopefully then they go, hang on, so you didn't give Tosin a red card. Now I'm going to show you Van der Ven's one, which is very similar. And now you've gone this way and this way. Pick a side, because whichever side you pick, the one you've said before, you're lying. So,
but they don't. But David, they don't do that though. And even when they ask Gallagher, and I know he doesn't officially work for them, do you think the referee made the right decision? This is how they respond. Howard Webb just does it in a more articulate way. They say it's one of those decisions that the referee could give and then he might not give. It's hard to tell. That's how they answer the questions. It'll be Howard. How does this differ from the situation at the Arsenal match? Well, you know, in these situations, you have to look at all the differences and then you have to weigh up your options. And sometimes when you do that, you come to a different answer. And Michael Owen will say, yeah, that makes sense. They don't actually answer the questions. Nobody is, I mean, they went on the Gary Neville podcast. I love that podcast. They didn't scrutinize anything. They dumped custard creams and they laughed and they joked about it. And I just think football fans care so much about this. And it doesn't appear that anyone in authority or anybody in the mainstream media genuinely gives a damn, barring, by the way, the ex-referee Keith Hackett, who was the only one coming out and really slamming these decisions. But again, I guarantee you, less and less of the mainstream media will have him on. Sky won't have him on. TalkSport won't have him on. TNT won't have him on. The Overlap won't have him on, because for some reason they want to protect the referees. It's just crazy to me. I want to jump to these super chats quickly, guys, before we get to the end of the show. First one says, I've seen so many times the rules aren't the only problem. It's the interpretation. Subjectivity is certainly ruled is certain what? Certain, I don't know, I can't pronounce that word. Ruled by inept referees. I hear you, the referees are inept. Why should Arsenal have to find a way? The ref should just get it right, for fuck's sake. That's my they are making multi-million pound errors here.
But what else can we do, man? Like we can complain every day, but nothing seems to change. Like they still don't get taken to big competitions, and might as well just get on with it, man.
This here says, Terry, please ask the deluded Will. He's obviously gone now. Sorry about that. He goes, if he still thinks Liverpool midfield is still better than Arsenal's, yesterday Rice and Moreno dominated them. Hold that, Will.
Yeah, Will's a waffler. It's okay. I'll relay the message to him. I'll text him.
We'll relay that. We will certainly get it back to him. Premier League refs are the most corrupt refs in the world. I see that after I watched Arsenal versus Liverpool. That is from
Corrupt
Zamir.
in favor of who? Corrupt in favor of who? What does that
You.
mean? So just
entertainment. In favor of entertainment.
No, I know you're joking, Staffy, but the issue is lots of people do think that there is some sort of conspiracy. So yeah, so just to confirm, the PGMOL were partly owned by the Premier League, right? The Premier League are obviously fighting City in the courts. They're the ones favouring City, right? Okay. This is like the same people who say that.
I agree. That's Nobbins. I keep saying it, Pete. Nobbins, I'm on your side. I keep saying this to people. It makes no sense to say that they're doing it to help City whilst they're trying to convict you of 130 different charges.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe there is an outright conspiracy against one club. I just think what I do believe is possible. I do believe it's marginally possible. Is maybe they're doing this for the stories. That makes more
VAR
sense.
Definitely. VAR for me definitely is for like just to create some drama that we don't have control over the game. But last 15 minutes, if we can have a go, let's have a go. You get me? That's it. It doesn't matter what team it is.
Bruno Guimaraes kickboxing the whole team last year was crazy. I remember that. That was crazy, to be fair. Why should sorry, already done that one here. Henry with this stupid debate against Saka. Stupid Henry. We told you we like Neil. The last time you brought this up with Igal, I proved he scored more goals in the Champions League than Vinny and Rodrigo. Same with Palmer. Compare him to Saka is like comparing Matoma to Cristiano Ronaldo.
So sorry, can you bring that up again?
I've just unstarred it. He's basically saying you're stupid.
So Vinny Jr. has got two Champions League final goals and 2 winning goals, and Rodrigo's got 6 goals in quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals. But unfair to say that he's a better player than Saka because he just turned up in the biggest of biggest games. Right. Okay.
No, he didn't say unfair. He said you were stupid.
Okay. So just to clarify, Saka has got more GA, and he had more GA than Rodrigo in the Champions League. However, in the biggest of biggest moments, when you're playing for the biggest football clubs, the best players deliver. And that's why Vinny and that's why flipping Rodri are up there for the final two in the Ballon d'Or. And Saka finished where? Where did Saka finish?
20th.
I'm not saying Saka's a better player, but like Rodri, the disrespect this guy.
Where did Werner finish? just asking.
It was
he doesn't finish. That's the problem, Sarah.
Yeah, you bang on double A. The PGMOL is a separate entity from the Premier League. Is that not?
It is, but it's partly owned by the Premier League. Once again, Marco 509 from Canada, it seems. Provide evidence to your conspiracy theory before crying like a little baby about it. That would be my suggestion. Thank you very much. Next.
You need to know Nobbins is a lawyer, guys. Come prepared.
Yeah, Nobbins is a
sound
lawyer.
effect.
He speaks in.
Yeah, we're going to give you an air horn for that one. Saka carried Arsenal on his back when we have been trashed. I think it is a silly argument. Both great. Give Palmer a couple more years to see if he can keep up with the consistency. What's been said there? All of you have to do is look back at the red card. Who? Paulista got after the back heel on Diego Costa. How VVD doesn't get a card, it is crazy.
I remember.
Irish Yellow says again, Arteta is running great players into the ground, adding players to the injury list, and soon it will be devastating. Playing with fire, get burned. I saw a show earlier. You had Terry Expressions and Rants, super fun. Yeah, Expressions was amazing. Big up Expressions. And if you haven't watched the fan channel review, go check it out. Obviously, I think we've got to start calling them the Biryani boys, mate, because Saeed and Faz it had me in tears. It had me in tears. It's the timing every time. And then, go and watch it. It's Nordin takes his food off, stands shouting, and then Faz just stands there and just goes, he'll go silent, goes, my food. It's just brilliant. Can we speak about the refs we can speak about the refs forever, but it's got to be honest. Havertz missed a sitter after the non-penalty on Martinelli. Liverpool got second goal came after Martinelli lost the ball because he was washed.
It's a bit harsh at the end, but I do agree with that comment a lot.
Definitely.
Which is
definitely done better with
intelligent
that
comment. Well done.
Martinelli's not washed, just bad.
I just always think when it comes to these conversations, though, it's about. I want to make sure I say this in the right way. I think it's about you can criticize Martinelli, you can criticize that finish, you can also criticize the referees, and I think that we on between the match reaction show and today, I definitely think that's been done on the terrace. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned in to the show. Everybody, I know that I want you guys. This is going to redirect you to Hassam's channel. I know some of you are already over there now, so go and check that out, people, and go and support Hassam's channel. I want to thank my panel, Double A. Thank you very much for making your debut on the show today. Everybody else, you've been amazing. To all of my super chatters, you're the best. We're back tomorrow with more content, including myself, Dan Potts, and LB live at 3:30 tomorrow for Straight Facts. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we will see you all again very, very soon. And we're in. Peace.